Hey guys, it's Fancy, and you're watching the Good Wives Network. And oh boy, these calls have really taken me for a loop. I don't know what game Greene County is playing, or if they're just really this fucking disorganized, but we are not all getting the same Dropbox of things. And the way I know this is because I have all the calls that were given to me by the state, and my calls are not in there. This call that I'm about to play is not in there. And so I just think it's really crazy that some people are getting certain things and other people are getting other things. Like, this is how they've done the FOIAs the whole time. Like, nobody can just be like, okay, so we got this FOIA and that's the end of it, because every single time someone else requests the same FOIA, they get other shit that they didn't request, that the other people didn't get. It's insanity. It's really bothersome. I'm sorry, guys. I had coffee. I'm having some problems. All right, guys, just start tapping and sharing, please. Tapping and sharing. I'm going to play my first call with Gypsy Rose from 2017 today. So if you guys could just start tapping, sharing, I'd greatly appreciate it. So let's get this out on the FYP. Let me share this out too, because I haven't shared it out yet. Why isn't it letting me share it? Where is my share button? Why can I not share it? There we go. All right, copy link. There we are. Okay, guys, I want to get a couple more people in here. So just in the chat, just tell me what you guys are thinking about these calls, and everything that's coming out, the constant changing of narratives. Like, what do you guys think at this point? I've not listened to as much as I'm sure many of you have, because I'm trying to do this in a way that I go through piece by piece from start to finish. It's very important for me to do it that way, for myself. And it helps me wrap my head around how all this happened. Good God, I am really freaking wrinkly today. I just grabbed any old shirt, threw it on. I didn't realize it was this wrinkled, but it's what happens when you don't put your laundry away. I already did, Cherish. Thank you. Gypsy's very manipulative, and Ryan needs to be investigated. For sure. For sure, Ryan needs to be investigated, because I'm going to tell you what, I think Brian Golden isn't the only one that has CSAM on their hard drives. I'm sorry. She surrounds herself with these types of people. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Like, it blows me away. Hey, Belinda. Hey, everybody coming in. How is everybody today? You know, this one, I do feel that I have been somewhat vindicated on all of this. Everything I ever said about these people was true. Who they are, what they do, how they behave. Thank you, Linda. And it just, you know, I feel like we're finally at the end. I feel like we're finally at the end of all of this, and I'm hoping that it's over. I hope that we can now move forward, and we can get these people offline, and we can, you know, we can move forward with the truth. I'm beyond just absolutely livid with People Magazine for posting about Aurora calling her mommy at 19 months old when all these calls are out. Like, hello? That's what you think is newsworthy? Like, why is that newsworthy? Why? Did Gypsy send that to you herself? Because I can't think of any other way. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why does that matter? I mean, it matters to her for sure. It's her freaking life. It's her baby. It's whatever. Okay, great. I just don't understand why it's in People magazine. Like, why? Hey, Trix, you want to come up? You know, it's like these calls are coming out and you're talking about how she's got her baby saying mommy at 19 months old. Like, what? What? And if she hasn't said mommy before this, why are you guys not concerned? Why are you not concerned? That's very, 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 very serious developmental delays. Like, are you getting her help? Are you taking her to a speech therapist? Are you looking into why she might be delayed? Because, you know, mama, you're definitely developmentally delayed. You need to be concerned about your baby. Right, Krista, exactly. All right, guys, I'm just trying to get to like 100, but I don't know if we'll ever get to that in the daytime right now. So, if you guys can get this going for me, drop FYPs, guys. Please keep tapping. I'm going to play the very first phone call that I ever had with Gypsy Rose. It's on 8/14 of 2017, and I will be putting it out on our YouTube, but right now I'm playing it from the Gypsy Rose prison calls. Hi, Pink Luna. And so this is my very first phone call with her after talking with Christy for a while and all of that. This is where I speak to her, and honestly, I share more about my life than anything else because it wasn't a conversation that we were having. Hey, Krista. Okay. That we were having, where I was just interviewing her. I mean, I have tons and tons of questions, obviously, but at this point, I was just trying to get to know her and see if she liked me enough to do the project. And I find it really interesting. If you guys have been listening to New Orleans lady playing the Robert calls, I mean, in those calls and in the Michelle Dean call and the Aaron Lee Carr call, she talks about life rights, and she talks to Mike about it. Oh, I found a really good one with Mike today, asking her to lie for him. That's a really interesting one. It's right after mine here in the sequence of things, and I just find it really interesting, Mike, because didn't I call you on that? Yeah, I think I called you on that. You're a shady motherfucker. Let me tell you. You are a shady mofo. For sure. For sure. All right, guys, we've got almost 50 people in here, so let's go ahead. Now, if you guys don't catch this from start to finish, obviously, I will be putting it on, I'll be putting it on my, oh, I don't think you can do it on your laptop. I think you can only do it from your phone, Trixie. I don't know. I don't know how to do it from my laptop. I've never done it on my laptop. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start this here for you guys.
An offender at the Chillicothe Correctional Center.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
To accept this free call, press 1. To refuse this free call, press 2. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hello?
This is Gypsy.
Hi, Gypsy. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Just trying to make it through the day.
Same here.
I hear ya. Well, so I talked to...
Okay, you can hear me really well, but you can't hear her really well. So when I put it over onto YouTube, when I put this actual call on YouTube, I will boost it for you guys. That's one of the things that I'm doing with all the calls. That's why I'm taking longer to do it. I'm actually going in and editing the levels so you guys can hear everything better on the ones that I'm putting out. I've got about 25 of them out on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, all of them. We have a new podcast called The Calls from Inside Gypsy in Her Own Words, or Gypsy Rose in Her Own Words. So if you go to any of the major podcast platforms, you'll find Gypsy in Her Own Words. And that's where Mac and I are going to do a lot of our response to these videos and talk about it and just kind of have casual conversations about it on that podcast. So, but anyway, guys, so I'm sorry if you can't hear as well as you'd like to, but I will be posting this with enhanced audio, obviously. So let's keep going here.
Christy and Rod today, and then they asked me to go ahead and talk to you. I've kind of been talking to Christy for a while, but I had a long conversation with her today. I'm a writer and an actress, and I'm really interested in telling your story, doing it's what's called a dramatized telling. You know, you've got the documentary, but this would be, dramatized.
There you are. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
This has been a lot.
Yeah, and it definitely has been for the little bits that I've heard, but I've also broke down the phone numbers for who is who so that it's easier to navigate through those calls. Yeah.
I did too. Yeah. I was trying to figure them out too, so I could so that way I could go. And that's how I knew that mine weren't in there, because I found my old phone number and I was like, well, where are mine? And that's why I actually put in a request specifically for my calls. But the New Orleans lady, she alerted me to this one, which means they're not sending the same things to every single person.
I don't think so either, because I found a couple of your calls so far in 2017.
And see, I don't have any.
Yeah.
None.
And I can send those to you.
That's fine. I mean, and the reason I want them out there is because I do want people to hear what I said and how I said it and what I was asking her and what I was doing. Like, when you hear this call, the way they've portrayed me is so wrong. Like, even in this call, at the end of this call, I'm telling her that I'm not a seasoned producer, that I don't have credits, that I just have some contacts that I think could get this done, and that I feel like I will tell a truthful story. And that was all I was ever interested in. It was the truthful story,
Right.
So all that bullshit about how I misled them and told them I was some big time producer. No, I told y'all that wasn't true. I was very honest about who I was, what I had done, and the big beginning was me wanting to tell this truthful story, but I didn't know that it wasn't truthful.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to look back now, knowing what we have today and knowing how little we had back then. Like, I had no idea there was this much information. Like, seriously.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think very many people really understand how much is involved in an investigation for a crime like this,
right.
and like how much you're going to receive from it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's just so much, as I dive into other cases and you pull the FOIAs for that, the magnitude is so large.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I have a flash drive that has all of the Susan Cox Powell stuff on it. And it's pretty extensive, but it's nowhere near as extensive as this. It's just not. I
have to say this is the biggest that I've had to deal with too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's very disorganized, and Greene County just has their heads up their asses, man. I don't know if they think that if they give everybody something different that we'll all get frustrated and stop asking, because I'm going to tell you what, every FOIA that comes out, I just think of 95 more FOIAs to put in. Like,
right. And they told Amber that, they've exhausted everything with them and that they can't send them anymore. And they're like, well, whatever, because they put in for more.
Yeah.
And the thing is when I requested the David Blanchard stuff and the Gypsy calls from county, they only gave me like 5 calls. But they gave Into the Weeds a lot more. And I'm like, and
there's more than that. There's got to be more than that.
Oh, there's definitely is. And I'm just sitting here like, why did they do that? I paid for this too, and so did they. Like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's getting very frustrating.
I do want to tell you, I just got approved for Nicholas go to John's prison calls, but they said it could take up to 180 days.
That's what they told me about mine.
Okay.
How was each request worded? Yeah, that plays into it in some amount, but not as much as you all would think. Okay, like if you're asking for a specific offender between these dates and these dates, there's no question what you're asking for.
Well, and not only that, Amber asked specifically for every documented file on
Right.
Nicholas Godejohn during this time in Greene County. And then she redid it for Gypsy after she got what she believed was everything for Nicholas. And
Right.
now that she put it in for Gypsy, they said, we've given you everything we can. That's it.
See, they're playing a game. I'm telling you,
They
they're
are.
really playing a game. And I think they know that they're in deep doo-doo. Like, I just, this was handled so improperly all the way around. Like, I cannot believe that all of this happened on recorded lines in a prison and nobody blinked. Like,
Exactly.
she's literally out here threatening people's lives and and talking about sexual assault and child and money laundering and fraud. And you guys were just like, yeah, that's all fine. Let's just let her out of here because we can't stand her and we want her gone.
It blows my mind how you and I get slammed so much when we called this out prematurely. Every little thing. And people are like, that's not true. This isn't true. You guys are just a bunch of hocus pocus liars. And it's like, do you guys see now? Do you feel a certain kind of way yet?
Do you feel a certain kind of way yet? Yeah, because all the things that you guys have said about me all these years, yeah, none of that was true. You assholes.
Okay.
It's very vindicating to me. Like, I and I never needed validation because I knew the truth. Like, chapter 9 of my book is all her inconsistencies. Oh, well, that's cool, spicy. I don't know how one chapter could be all her inconsistencies.
Yeah, that'd be one hell of a chapter.
One hell of a chapter. That's what we're kind of working on too, is Mac and I are trying to put that together as well. I know the books that I've written didn't go over as well as I wanted them to do. And that's because I really just didn't know what I wanted to do yet. Like, I rushed it, and that's why I'm going to pull it and redo the series, because I do want to do it where it's all the inconsistencies from start to finish. And now that we have these phone calls, I mean, we have it from start to finish. We know exactly what she told Michelle Dean. We know exactly what she told Erin Lee Carr, Melissa Moore, 2020 Jenner Smith, and I don't know. It's a lot. It's so much. And I really didn't think it was going to be like this. I honestly thought I'd listen to a couple calls and I'd be done and that would be it. And I really wasn't interested in any of the relationship stuff, that's just not what I'm here for. I don't want to hear Ryan Anderson.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. I think it's sick.
That's not my thing. Yeah.
Case study is completely obsessed with that. Like, I think it's sick. I think it's really freaking sick.
I think Ryan Anderson's his niche, so more than Gypsy. So that makes sense.
It's his speed for sure. For sure, his speed. And now, I'm watching Ryan react to all this stuff, and I'm just like, dude, give it up. Okay? Give it up.
Yeah.
You don't have a fan base like Gypsy has a fan base, okay? Your fan base came only from you being attached to Gypsy. No one else would give a fuck about you if you were not attached to Gypsy and all of this. And now you're going to sit out here and you keep wanting to say, oh, well, you're taking it out of context. How are we taking it out of context, dude? We're literally playing the whole fucking call. What do you mean we're taking it out of context? Were you giving it out of context? Like, I don't understand.
I don't believe that. And then the whole, we were just role playing, like, who does that? I get role playing, but you don't do that with children involved.
No,
you know what I mean?
Okay. And here's the thing. This is what I really wanted to talk about with the role play thing. Like, I know Javier from Pretend Podcast asked her again, about the 13-year-old situation, and he acts like he's the only one that's ever asked that question. He's not. Kale Lowry asked that question, and she gave her a stupid shit answer too. Am I in contact with any of them? No, not anymore.
I've never been in contact with any of them,
No.
period.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, I've never exchanged words with a
Right,
single
but
one of them.
okay, so let's talk about that though. The role play. Okay, here's the thing though. I know how to role play. I'm into that. I'm into the alternate community of letters. Okay, I've never hid that. It's a normal thing for people that are consenting adults to do. But here's the thing. What she was doing with Nick and what they were doing isn't role play. Role play
wasn't.
would have had to have been some sort of like smexualist act while they were talking about those things. That's not how role play works. You don't just sit on a couch and randomly just talk about shit. Like it had nothing to do with Smex role play. It had to do with, I'm just talking about my whole fucking thought process and this is what I think. That's not the same thing. Just like she did with all the guys on the calls. It's not role play. I'm sorry. It's not. Role play is getting dressed up and doing something. Or, in a sexual situation, you have certain agreements between partners. It's just, this is not normal. This is not normal.
Yeah,
you can't
normal.
just chalk that up to role play. What is debunked in you that's your role play?
I'm actually working on a call right now where she's talking to Sebastian, and she actually talks about her voice for a minute too, and the childlike, because she brings up her great grandma Minnie, and she says, "Oh, well, she sounds like a childlike but old. It's cute, And they sit there and they giggle about it, and she brought up, the Mickey voice, like she said Mickey or Squeaky or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people?
Yeah. Well, Grandma does have a voice like that. That's what Christy told me originally.
Yeah.
Because I was like, she's very short. She takes after Grandma totally. That's great grandmother is the role, is like the mold for Gypsy Rose. Like, you can see it. And then I saw pictures of Rod's mother the other day and like the back of her head, and she's got the microcephalic head. Like,
she does.
This is very simple now that we know the truth. And I just think that people have been so far under rocks. Peppermint Marie, they say that they did, but I don't believe them. I don't believe them because according to Mia, they told Mia that Dad was tested and he doesn't have anything and it comes from Dee Dee when we already know that it does not come from Dee Dee.
Dee Dee was
so either she's lying to Andre so that he's not concerned about having children, or they lied to Mia. There's no other situation here.
I think they lied to Mia because it seems like Mia's got a level head and she's not trying to get pregnant, or at least I don't think she is. I could be wrong. I'm not in their lives, but it seems like she's being smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I heard a phone call about that situation. I heard a phone call between Christy and Gypsy. And Christy was telling Gypsy that they had to get a hold of Dr. Camille and take the kids to Dr. Camille to get tested. So somewhere there is a phone call between Gypsy and Christy, and they talk about, Christy tells Gypsy that she's taking Mia and Dylan to the clinic to get tested. And Dr. Camille is a pediatrician on the bayou.
Who Camille is, but she wouldn't be qualified.
So there is that phone call out
She
there.
wouldn't be qualified to diagnose this.
I think you have to see a specialist, don't you?
No, but she would send them to the correct
specialist.
people, though, I would think.
Yeah.
I did hear that phone call where they were discussing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dr. Camille was my daughter's doctor, and whenever she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, she sent us to the correct doctor to get diagnosed with the cerebral palsy because they had to run some tests on her. Dr. Camille couldn't do it.
Right.
but she did send me to the correct doctor to do it. So I'm assuming that would be their primary physician.
No, it was.
Pediatrician, and she would have sent them to the correct place.
Yeah, that's weird though, because
but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that phone call is out there.
Yeah. But see, that's weird to me because when Gypsy was out is when they claimed that they went and got tested. So if you're saying that there's a call about it, and now then they're telling the public that they got tested when Gypsy got out, did anyone get tested?
And you would think this would come up.
Yes, there is a call about it, and it's sometime. I'm wanting to say it's. Let me think. Sometime in the 2017 phone call.
Tested for what? The micro deletion, guys. That's what we're talking
in
about.
the early.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact date on it. I'll have to go through the calls and see if I can find it.
Yeah, just let me know which one it is so I can listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's plainly talking about it.
Wow.
Okay. I'll find it and let you know. But I've got to jump down. My husband's home. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, New Orleans. Okay, so let's get back to this call, though. Have you heard this one, Trixie? Have you heard the call with me yet?
No, I have not. But I'm also interested in the one with Mike that you were talking about a little bit ago, too.
Yeah, yeah, that one's interesting, too. It's in 2017, somewhere after this call. So this call that I'm playing right now is from 8/14/2017. I think it's within days of this that she talks to Mike.
When you play it, I'm going to mute real quick because I got to make a shake real quick.
No problem.
And I don't want to make noise, but I'm here.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to play the whole call for this. It's an hour, so, I mean, we're going to interject, obviously, because I can't get through more than, 3 minutes of her talking without having to say something. It's crazy. But I just want you guys to hear this, and I want you to think about my motivations here in this call. My motive originally was truth and helping them. I wanted to help them tell the truth in a way that I thought people would actually hear it. And, so I've always been after truth. That's always been my goal. And the way I talked to Gypsy when I first talked to her, and I talked to her like this throughout, I was very concerned. I was very sweet. I wanted to be kind. I wanted to help them. And then I found out that they were just the biggest freaking liars on the damn planet. And it broke me, dude. It literally broke me. And, everybody thinks, oh, she got fired. She got this. She got that. None of that happened. None of it happened the way you guys think it happened. And if you weren't around back then, you don't even have a semblance of a clue of all of what was going on back in 2019. You just don't. It was a lot. But it wasn't like it is today. This is insanity where we're at today in these communities and where we're, how this is all playing out in the current. But here, let's go ahead and go back to the call. So let me push you guys over
have
here.
Actors and actresses and things like that. So
that would be nice.
yeah.
Mom was telling me a little bit about it, and I know that we've been thinking maybe this might happen, and so we've been approached before, but of course it was before the documentary came out and stuff. So everything's all up in the air. But I mean, would this be a TV show on a paid network like HBO, or is it?
It's something that I would have to pitch to the networks. So this is kind of what I told your mom, that a lot of people are going to approach you, and a lot of people are going to offer outrageous amounts of money and are going to promise the world and the moon and all these different things to you. And you're more than welcome to take any of those that you want, but my goal is to tell a truthful story and to really take the time to sit down and get to know you as people. And, this really touched my heart, and I felt a very big connection to this story. And so that's what I'm offering. Like I told Christy and Rod today, if you're looking for somebody who has fast money and can promise everything to you. I'm not that person. I'm not going to be able to give you $1 million tomorrow, but what I can promise is that it's going to be done with integrity and with truthfulness and the story that you are wanting told, not just like I know that there's another person out there that's kind of worked with them in the past on the documentary and has already told, Christy, well, I don't have to get the rights to your story. I can just tell the story that I want to tell. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is to sit down with you guys and really, find everything out and tell the story that you want told, and really dive into it, because I think that it's very interesting. I'm not looking at it as a true crime story. I'm looking at it as a story. It's a family story. It's a story.
And that was my goal. Like, I understood that people, had heard about the crime and all of those things, and we'd seen, stuff like that. But what I wanted to explain was, how did we get here? How did this happen? And how do we keep it from ever happening again? That was my whole thing. I wasn't looking at it as a true crime case in the beginning. I didn't fool her. I didn't, Lyra. I didn't. I was truly honest about all of it. And that's the thing. Like, I'm honest to a fault. Like, I'll tell on myself. I don't lie. I mean, have I lied in the past? For sure. Everybody tells little lies, right? But in my soul, in my core, I'm a very, very honest person. Like, I'm not good at it. I'm good at pretending as an actress. You going out? Okay, I love you. But I'm not great at being a liar to a person,
Right.
The medical records did change my mind some, but when we got them, we still didn't understand what they were. No. It changed my mind from this being a Munchausen case to a malingering case. Yes, that did happen, because I began looking at it and going, this just doesn't feel like Munchausen by proxy. She's not making her sick. This is weird. It just was odd. And I just kept saying, something about this doesn't add up. Something about this doesn't add up. And they specifically hid the microdeletion from me. They made sure that Titania did not have it in the drive where Colleen could find it. Because we did approach Christy about it at one point in time, and she chalked it up to bullshit. And because we only had the karyotype instead of the microarray, we didn't have confirmation of the actual the microdeletion. We only had the preliminary test that said they didn't see anything. So that was all we had to go on, and I think that's the day that Titania flipped from being helpful to helping Christy and Rod. And oh, by the way, guys, there's a call where Christy and Gypsy are talking, and she admits that Titania, or I'm sorry, maybe she's talking to someone else. Titania was the one that was withholding the records, not me. And that she didn't want to give them to Gypsy because of working on a project with me, and that she was withholding them and wouldn't turn them over. That is true. Titania was doing that, because what you guys fail to understand is I didn't get the medical records. Titania and Christy got the medical records. And everything that I ever had was fed to me by them. I only have copies. I have no originals of anything. And then Titania did meet Christy in the freaking parking lot of a store, and she gave her all of her copies, the hard copies, and Christy took them home in binders. We did give them. That's the thing. We did give them. I've been trying to tell you all this from the very beginning. They've always had them. The misinformation from these people is insane. They just destroy people.
Well, and don't forget, Kim Blanchard mentioned it in the first documentary, the microdeletion. She didn't offer up which type, But she did say microdeletion, and all of us overlooked that and didn't think anything
No,
of
no,
that.
no, no. I didn't overlook it. I didn't overlook it because I asked what was the very first thing that Gypsy said that Dee Dee told you.
Okay.
And she said a chromosome disorder. Okay, but what they did is they framed that in the documentary as Dee Dee lying about it. That's how they framed it.
Tim said it, which is weird.
But they framed it that way as, oh yeah, Dee Dee told all of us this, when it wasn't true. That was the distinction. They made it seem like, oh, well, Rod said it in the documentary. He did. But if you listen to the whole conversation, he's telling you this is what Dee Dee told him, and none of it is true, except that it is. It is true. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So that's the thing. Like, they tried to present it falsely that it was not true, knowing that it was.
Yeah.
Erin Lee Carr knew it was true. Melissa Moore certainly knew it was true. You know. But anyway, let's keep going here.
And the story is not about the event that took place, a couple of years ago. The story is about what happened to you and your family and how that became the ending to this terrible tragedy. And that's what I am trying to do. I would take it, I would write it with my team and work with your family, and then take that to studios and pitch it to them and see who would be the most interested in doing it. And I can tell you right now, anybody can tell you that they can take it to whoever, and they can, and they probably will, and they can probably get a deal. I mean, it's going to be a hot subject. People are going to be clamoring over it. It's going to get made. But what is important is what is going to get made. And that's what I'm trying to do, is make sure that this is a good story that you are happy about when you're done, and that people really understand who you all are and how this happened.
I guess I really did that, just in a different way.
I would love people to kind of understand the whole story, and so I mean, there's much more to it than just me and my mom. There's Dad and Chris. There's just so
Rod the liar.
Rod the liar, the abandoned father.
Michelle Dean. She did a wonderful article for BuzzFeed.com. She wants to do a series on Hulu, and it'll be called The Act, and of course my story would be the first season. But I was I know that there's just so much in there, so it's difficult to just do one season, like maybe 13 episodes, and get everything all in there. So I was I'm hesitant about it. And of course, I still don't know if it's even going to get made, because right now she's writing the pilot. It has to be presented to them to even, they have to get them to go ahead. So that's where that is with that. And nothing's been signed or anything.
Me too,
so
Jennifer.
it's more of her, just working on it. There's no contract or anything, so it's not legally.
She wasn't even supposed to tell people about that at all. She already broke her contract on that.
Well, they hadn't signed their contract yet.
Well, and then also, wasn't she complaining before that she didn't consent to them doing the act, and she didn't get paid for it, which she did, both.
Which she ended up getting paid for it. Yep. She got $50,000 for it, just so you guys know.
And a trust, wasn't it?
And a trust.
Like that?
Yeah, and a trust.
So she deems it as, she didn't get paid because it was under control.
Right. Yep. So here you go. Exactly. She wasn't supposed to talk about that, but I knew about the act because I had approached them about doing the project. So they were telling me, okay, so there is this thing that's going on, and I was like, okay, but many people make many projects about the same story. That doesn't matter. That's, if you're not participating in it, which they had told me they weren't at that time, we're not participating in it. And then they got me involved to write a cease and desist to Michelle, like all kinds of stuff, they told me about it because I was working on a similar project. So, But
I listened to a couple of calls where she was telling people, and the
I'm
first
sure
thing
she
she said was,
was.
I'm not supposed to tell anybody this, but I can't help
Right.
myself. And you know, all the girls in the prison freaking heard it too.
Yeah. Exactly.
She can't keep her mouth shut for
And
nothing.
you're going to get that.
No.
And just like another gentleman approached your dad, and he was like, I want to do a movie and I want to attach really big name talent, and you know what? That's fine. It can be done, but anybody can do that. I can walk into any agency tomorrow and tell them that this is the story that I want to tell and get anybody attached. It can happen. And it's all about a dollar number, and is it a great role for somebody? And of course it's a great role for somebody. It's not a huge, role for especially your role, or the role of your mom, of Dee Dee, or any of you. That it's a huge role and anybody's going to want to do that. But anyone can do that. I've done it for other projects. It's not, it's not something, when somebody says that, what they're trying to do is impress you. And I didn't come at it that way. I didn't want to come at it and be like, well, I can get so-and-so attached and I can do, because who cares? I mean, seriously, that's not what this is about. What this is about is making sure that there's, like I said, integrity in the story. And I want to take care of you guys, and I want to make sure that what you want is out there and that the truth is told, and you're right. This story is so much. And the more and more I learn about this, the more and more interesting it becomes, because there's so many things that go into this story. And that was why I told your mom that, 2 hours in a movie, again, it's going to be just like the documentary, where it doesn't really answer anyone's questions about anything. And I don't really feel that it would do you any justice. And I don't think that it would be the way to go, and I don't want to go to and tell you, okay, I'm going to take this specifically to HBO, or I'm going to take this specifically to Lifetime, because I don't want to lock it in. I want to do this. I want to write it and work with you guys and make the best thing we can make, and then turn around working with producers and contacts that I have in the industry to take it and get the best place for it. That's what I want to do.
That would be wonderful. And
Which, all that bullshit that they said about me, that I went out there and I didn't go to Netflix and I didn't do all these, there's proof that I did. And they even talk about it in a later call that we almost had this thing sold to AMC, and then they fucked it up. It's just every step of the way. I've been offered to tell this story many times. I've been offered money, but I never felt like I was ready. Like, I didn't feel like the story was ready. And I didn't want to give control to anyone else about what was or wasn't going to be in my story that I told about this, because I wanted the truth, And so, it's just so funny, because they've said all this stuff, but then you hear them talking, and she's telling Ken, oh, Fancy's so great. She's asking me all these great questions, and blah, 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 blah. And then, Christy's like, yeah, we're going to sell it to AMC, which is not what I said to Christy. I did not say it's sold to AMC. I said AMC is interested, and they're supposed to be sending a contract over in a couple of days for us to look over. It was not sold to them because we didn't sign a contract yet, but whatever. And you can hear Christy. Go ahead.
I feel like Ken played a big role in them turning against you too.
Ken?
He was mouthy from the start with you.
He hated me. He hated me because I did not like him. I did not like him. I was like, where did this guy come from, and what the fuck does he want? And I was being lied to about all that. So while you guys are hearing all these Robert phone calls, she's with Ken already, right? They're almost engaged. Yeah. By the time that she's doing all of this with these phone calls, they're almost already engaged for the first time. She's not, she's just not a truthful person in any way, shape, or form. She's just not.
That's because she's got 20 freaking personalities. You don't know which one to pick from.
I'm telling you. And I am now more solidified in my thought process that these people, the family, both sides, Dee Dee's side and Christy, convinced Gypsy long before the schmurder that she was not sick.
I agree.
There's
I
no
think
other
both
way.
sides are pieces of shit.
I do too. I mean, there's no other way for Claudia and Laura and Evans and every single one of them, Bobby, all of them to have Munchausen by proxy in their mouths before she even was found dead.
Yeah, I took a lot of heat for calling them POSs long
I did
before
too.
the
I
truth
did
came out.
too.
And I'm like, dude, they were all involved. They're all
And if you talk to
lying.
New Orleans lady who's known them all for 20 some odd years, she's known them since 2000. So 26 years she's known these people. She was married into the family, at one
Yeah.
point. She ran and got away from everybody because anybody with any smarts or anything leaves. The people that want to be decent human beings leave. Like Suzette, she left too for the same reason. She didn't want to be around this anymore. She couldn't stand it. It's just a horrible place. And like I said, my friend told me you're going to the ends of the earth, and I didn't understand what that meant. I do now. But I think that they convinced her. I really do. And I think that she believes she's not sick. And I've tried to tell Sheena this, I've tried to tell them, hey, she is sick. And whether she's healthy right now or not is irrelevant to what she actually has and how it goes in cycles. Somebody needs to help her. Like, she needs help, guys. She does. And if she wants to be here for her daughter, she needs to take her health seriously because she does have health problems. This is not a debate.
I've always been convinced that Christy and Rod and maybe even Bobby convinced her to take Dee Dee out for a good reason.
Well,
I've always felt that. And then more so with David Blanchard. And I know people keep saying, what does he have so much heavy weight to do with all this? I think he wanted Dee Dee taken out too because she knew too much. And he was getting ready to be under hot water.
Yeah. Yeah. I do too. I mean, seriously, everybody wants to talk about that and be, and now, I mean, if you listen to her, she is very adamant all these years. The ninth.
Yep.
It was not until she got called out in her book that she started saying the 10th. It's always been the 9th.
Yeah, because they even retracted the police statements and everything at first because they all said the 9th with Arnott and whatnot, and then they changed it to the 10th.
And then they changed it to the 10th, and it's not. It's not. Nope. I mean, technically, it might have been the morning of the 9th going into the 10th. I mean, sure, okay. But that's not the 10th going into the 11th.
And that's what they tried to gaslight us with, too, because Gypsy said so. But can we talk about that for a second? Because you and I had talked back and forth about a different possibility. And I kind of want to see what the thoughts are on that. Because I've looked this over so thoroughly, even with the crime scene photos again just recently.
Yeah.
And my thought process was, I think we were both a little off here. I think, you're right. There was a party that happened because it's obvious. Look at all the debris around the front yard, in the house.
We have confirmation from the community. And we have confirmation from the community and friends of these people that it happened. Yeah.
And we're looking at the possibility of maybe Gypsy and Nick did not kill Dee Dee. Because think about this. Nick swears up and down he heard Dee Dee yell for Gypsy, or he heard her yell just in general when he was hurting her. Now, I've come to the conclusion again that they tortured her, and then they left, and Dan and David and Ace or whoever he wants to be called, finished her off. Because at the end of the day, think about this. You can't freeze her because science shows you can't freeze a body of that magnitude and then thaw it out by that time.
No, you wouldn't. But refrigeration could happen. But that's why I've always had the refrigeration thing, because the decomp is off. But
the decomp is off. But it doesn't make sense to remove her from the house and people not see her either, or a truck, if you think about that. So what do? You tie her up in that chair, in the bathroom too, whatever, and you're torturing her. That explains the blood and the cleanliness of that chair, but yet it was still doused in powder. And then the bedding that would have been missing from that they put her in originally to move her and whatnot, because it is proven 100% without any doubt whatsoever, she was strategically placed in that bed.
Yes.
But if her heart was still pumping when Nick took his 4 jabs at her, which we counted the 4 jabs from the actual serrated knife. Those are there. The rest are different knives. They're smaller, like the paring knives, right? But we also saw the husky knives that we had pointed out previously too. The box knives, whatever they're called. So when you think about it, she was placed there. But you could tell, and the reason why you know she was placed there is the blood stain in the top left of the bed does not match where she is found laying at all in any way, shape, or form. She was rolled there from the left side of the bed, where you can see, if you look close enough at the crime scene photos, blood stains that they tried to remove of dragging her on the floor through the hallway all the way around the bed and placing her up there.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, we talked about this, and this is where the reason that I ever suggested a refrigerator or any of that. I mean, first of all, I do believe the body was moved, like you said. It's very obvious. But the pattern, the first thing that got me about that and knowing that the body was moved wasn't even the position of the body. It was the fact that that pattern from the crate is on her so predominantly, and with 4 layers down, it wouldn't have happened like that. It's just not the way it happened. She wasn't sagged down into the bed, like all the way, like falling through the floor, guys. She was sitting on top of it. I mean, like, it was still pretty, And so I think about that. And so that was why I had always questioned the decomp, and I knew the decomp was off. And one of the reasons why I knew the decomp was off is I just took a decomp class right before I looked at all of this. Like, I was taking that kind of class, and I was like, oh, okay, so the decomp is off, which means what? And I was like, well, there's only a couple of ways you can slow down decomp, and turning the thermostat down is not one of them.
Right. Well, yeah, and I did a thorough research on that too, because back in during that week in 2015, KY3 had reported that we had heat advisories at that time during that entire week that she'd supposedly been there. And it did rain at least once, which is why the ground was wet. However, it was still so humid that even though it said it was 89 degrees for that week, give or take on average, it still felt like it was around I think 97 or 104. I can't remember which one it said. It's in my video somewhere. But so, and then when you look at, when you do heating and cooling, like when you talk to people, they'll even tell you, even top design AC units were designed that you can't even go more than 20 degrees below what you set your thermostat to, especially when there's humidity like that.
It can't cool it that far.
Exactly. So even overnight when it's cooler and the sun's not out, it wouldn't have even dropped a full 20 degrees under the 70s.
And it still wouldn't have been cold. Okay, if we're to believe that it happened on the 9th or the 10th, okay, and they didn't find her till the 14th, hello, guys, that's 4 to 5 days. The air conditioner, if it had been really set that low for that long, the air conditioner would have frozen the fuck over. It would have busted. There would have been no cold air coming out as the officers opened the door. No. She looked as if she was found the next day. Exactly. And I think that's okay. I want to get through this one, but I do want to talk about that for a second. I do think that is what happened. And I think that's why the Sherry Messer, the cab driver who brought the second person that pretended to be Nicholas, I do believe that was all a setup. I think that was the setup, was they were going to try and make it seem like she'd just been unalived on the 14th and Gypsy had been gone for days, so it couldn't possibly be Gypsy.
Which is why I think somebody went back and finished the job after they left town to give her plausible deniability. So there is a chance she has been telling the truth and she didn't actually do it. But how many times are we going to hear that she did do it? She took jabs at Day. She definitely did. That's no question. So, I mean, I'm looking at this from 5 different angles, basically, with
I mean, that's the thing. And people just think that, like, oh, well, Fancy and her freaking theories and blah, blah. But here's the thing, guys. That's what you do when you're investigating.
Without theories, we don't have an answer. You know what I mean? We're just, we're up in limbo.
Right. That's the thing. Like, there's nothing... this does not make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then it's not the truth. And if it's not the truth, then we need to figure out what the truth is. I'm sorry. So the only way to do that is to throw out theories against the wall. You throw out spaghetti and you wait for something to stick and you go, okay, wait, that stuck. Let's look at that. Let's dial that down. And here's the other thing that makes me think that she wasn't dead when Gypsy left is because of what Gypsy says in her interrogation, where she says, I don't know what happened. And I think she doesn't. I saw her in that moment, and I always thought that's where I knew she was telling a story about 2 different people. She was talking about Nick and Dan and combining them into one person. And she was confused on things, and I think that's because she really wasn't there when it happened.
And she kept trying to call Dan for over a year in prison, and he would not
answer her. Right.
But he's talking now slowly.
Yeah.
He's not giving us answers, but he's talking.
Yeah. Trying to make a story stick is not how using evidence and facts works. Cheryl, it absolutely is. You throw all the things on the wall, and have you not seen a murder board? Do you not know what a murder board is? Like, have you never seen one in a cop investigation where you've got all the people and you connect the things? That's exactly what you do. It's not trying to make the story stick. It's trying to figure out what is the story.
And
what is the story? What, with all this evidence, what's the truth? So I don't know what you're talking about, but that's exactly how investigations work. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's how a judge figures it out, too, and what they're going to do. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would think anything different of that. That doesn't make any sense to me. But, I mean...
They're trying to make a story stick. Hell, Gypsy did for years. 10 different stories.
10 different
stories.
How
is this any different? At least ours makes more sense.
Right. DNA evidence. What DNA evidence? What DNA evidence are you speaking of, Cheryl? You mean the ones that they didn't test? Those DNA evidence? You know, the one all the way through the hallway and the kitchen and all of those? Is that the DNA evidence you're talking about? Just wondering.
I didn't get a chance to go through that DNA document.
How about the evidence all over Gypsy's bed that somebody finished? How about that evidence? Did they test that? No, they didn't test that either, did they? No, they didn't. Did they test and see if Dee Dee was sexually assaulted? No, they didn't do that either. Patterson had him throw out the test.
Although we know there is a chance she did because Maholey asked Nick outright. And she wouldn't have asked that if, you know what I mean? Like, because we listened to Gypsy's interrogation. I don't think she mentioned that before Nick at all.
She hadn't. She didn't.
So that wouldn't have even been a question if they didn't suspect. And I had to wonder because there was some dark bruising on her thighs. And people were like, oh, that's just part of her decomp. And that could very well be if in normal situations. But she was not at that decomp stage that she should have been at for a woman her size and the humidity heat.
Right. No, it's just not right. No mention of anyone else in those texts. You do understand that those texts were orchestrated by Gypsy for 2 weeks before this murder, right?
Not to mention we still don't have Yahoo messages. We don't have a lot of messages. They didn't pull Dan's messages or text messages with other people. Just Nicholas and his ex-girlfriend or whoever, and those were just very few messages.
Thank you. Ace Bannister's own post proved there were more people. Yes, they do.
Absolutely. And Ace has been charged with attempted murder multiple times. And
Schmurder, we're on TikTok. You gotta remember.
Oh, sorry. Schmurder, and the grape thingy.
Yeah.
Grapes.
Yeah. All right. Let's try it. Who's Ace Bannister? Dan's cousin, Brian Rogers. Not Brian Golden. Brian Rogers. Just so you guys know.
With a D in the Rogers.
Rogers. Rodgers. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. We're never going to get through this call.
Have been through any of this, so we don't know how to go about it or anything.
Sure.
Oh, Jesus, right there. We've never been through any of this, so we don't know how to go about it. But in 2016, we were talking about getting a lawyer and life rights and how to skirt the Son of Sam laws. But we don't know anything in 2017. We're dumbasses, and we don't know anything. Poor us. Fancy, will you please help us? Because we don't know anything.
See, we can't even be honest with... Never mind. I'm not even there.
I'm the one that's like, okay, that's awesome.
Right.
I don't know how this works, but I know that Mom's been very comfortable with you, and so I think that we are very much considering it.
Right. And I wanted to tell you, like, two things. One is I don't know your story, and I can't sympathize completely. But I did grow up in a house that had, my mother was...
Okay, before I tell this story about my life, I want you guys to understand this is where I was a few weeks ago when I was saying that I understood how it could have progressed to that and how I do feel that there was some amount of abuse going on in the home. I'm not saying that it was abuse like what everybody thinks, but I'm very well aware of how volatile a single mother with a single daughter gets between the ages of 14 and 19.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's what I was trying to explain, is that in my own experience with my own mother, I could see how that could have happened. There could have been arguments between them. I think there were arguments happening. I do think Dee Dee smacked her in the face and called her a slut. I do think that she was making her take pregnancy tests because she was sleeping with 35-year-old men that Dee Dee knew. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what. In the incidences with my mother, yes, it was very abusive. It was abusive to me, and it had been abusive to me my whole life, but it got really bad when I became a teenager and I started fighting back. And I started fighting with my mother. And so you could say that that's mutual abuse in a way, but they all say, well, no, abuse is that there's no mutual abuse. There is mutual abuse. There is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can abuse each other, and you can be both in the wrong and both right at the same time. Okay. And so this is why people are like, oh, fancy flip. She's saying Gypsy. No, I'm saying that I know that there were times that I stood at my mom's bed while she was having a diabetic reaction and just thought, what if I don't call 911 today? What if I don't? If I don't call 911, my mom will drift off to sleep and her suffering will end and I will have a new life and my suffering will end and I don't know what to do. But you know what I was doing every single time while thinking that? Dialing 911. Because I didn't want my mom to die. And I talk about this in there, but I want you guys to understand that's what I was meaning. The relationship between a single mother and a single child between the ages of 15 and 19. It's volatile.
I get it. My mom was a single mom, but me and her did not get along in my teen years at all. I was a nightmare to her. I fully get it. And my son is turning 14, and let me tell you, nightmare. And I am
like my middle daughter, I didn't think we were going to survive with my middle daughter. Like I literally, and I'm probably the closest with her today, and she has my grandson and all of that, and she totally appreciates everything that I didn't let her get away with and that I didn't let her do, because that's what you do as a parent.
100%. Yeah. And we as parents, we're going to make our mistakes and we lose our
We all do.
But you got to think, our little minis are nightmare terrors when they're hot full of hormones at teenage years.
Yeah.
They talk back and they're mean.
To my mother. I know I was. I caused a lot of arguments.
I got smacked a few times. I get it.
I was constantly grounded for what I didn't know I did. And my mother would just tell me, you know what you did? And I'm like, no, actually I don't. So if you could tell me that I could stop doing it so I can stop getting grounded.
My favorite line from my dad was, don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I want you guys to hear my little story here, but I just wanted to explain that to you. I was not in any way justifying what Gypsy did. I wasn't in any way saying, hey, you know, it was okay for her to do this. No. But what I was trying to explain is, yes, I do believe, everybody says, oh, Fancy says there's no abuse. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying she was not medically abused. She was not medically abused. In any way, shape, or form, she was not.
Not the way that she's been trying to portray.
No. All right, here we go.
There's no evidence of that.
She was on tons and tons of medication, and it was just me and my mother. And my mom, you know, and I had a very volatile relationship growing up. And so I understand that the loyalty to a person who maybe doesn't make the best decisions for you and, you know, has done damage to you. But this conflict of loving that person still because they are your mom, you know, and what you had to go through, did I take it to the level of what happened with you? No, but I can understand, you know, and it was a very hard thing for me. And then I got to a point where I was very close to my mother as an adult, and we moved past things that happened to me as a child. And then I lost my mom tragically, very, very quickly. And so it was a very hard thing for me. And I went into this horrible depression. And so the very first story that I decided when I decided to come back to the industry was me telling that story of me losing my mom and what I was dealing with.
And the broken nose.
And all of that. And so that was a very personal story for me. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. I'm not the type of person that wants to go off and make millions of dollars writing Games of Thrones. Making millions of dollars is wonderful, you know, but I'm very interested in the stories that I'm telling and making sure that they're important stories to tell. And I feel like this is an extremely important story because it's not just about you and it's not just about your family, but it can help other people, you know.
That's what I want to happen because it's just Mom can tell you about the story. There's another family that's kind of going through the same thing.
Right?
Okay, Patrice, I agree with you. And I was guilty of doing so in the beginning. Absolutely. I think everyone has been. Because it's hard not to try to relate to this case in some way because we've all had shit relationships with our parents and we've all had, you know, abuse happen to us and we've all had, you know, abusive boyfriends and like that. This is the thing. Like we all we projected. And I began realizing that projection was happening in so many ways. And I started calling that out and telling people, she's not your champion. She is not the one in your story. Don't let her be your story, you know? And so, but it took me a long time, like, because I did come to it because of an emotional attachment to the story that they sold. That was false.
Springfield, and I had told Mom about this family a couple of months ago when I read about this story in the paper. And I called her and I was like, Mom, there's this story about this mom that was, you know, giving her kids the medicine that they didn't need and everything. It sounds a lot like, you know, what happened to me. And so, you know, I had months later, you know, she and I talked about it, and I was like, she was telling me about that the dad got in contact with my dad and Christy, and I'm like, that's the story. That's the lady that I was telling you about. So I guess the dad watched the documentary. So I was just so happy that it kind of reached out to everybody. And so
she never shuts up.
She doesn't. I talk a lot in this, but she doesn't shut up. Yeah. And here's the thing. Like, think about this. What she's saying right now is that a father who actually experienced this with his wife and his children watched her documentary of bullshit and thought, hey, I'm going to reach out to Rod Blanchard. Fuck. Can you imagine that? Like, this is why it's so wrong and why we have to make this story be told truthfully. Now, don't show multi-guest in this live. No, thank you. Decline. All right. So, I mean, like, think about that, though. Here's this poor grieving father, and he's reaching out to fucking Rod Blanchard.
Excuse me. Yeah. Do you also remember in the very beginning where all these women were literally just thirsty for Rod, and I'm like, I wanted to throw up. I'm like,
oh, you have no idea how many messages I was shown by Christy of women that he was flirting with, or she was hitting on him, or asking
just
them
in
for
the Gypsy Rose
money.
alone, though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about all the way back.
Yeah,
because they didn't originally have. Hey guys, they didn't originally have a joint Facebook account. They didn't. That happened in 2019. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he cheated.
When he was cheating all the time.
He probably is still cheating.
I'm sure he is. Have you heard how he speaks about her now?
I think it's funny. She deserves it. No offense.
Trixie, you're not married, right?
No, not anymore.
But you were.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine your husband talking about you as you've gotten older and talking about, oh, she's gotten lazy and fat and blah, blah. My husband would never have, he doesn't look at me that way. I am much heavier than I was when we got married, for sure. Okay? Does he see me that way? No.
Let me put it to you this way. My ex-husband and I have known each other over half of our lives.
Right.
And even through divorce, he still would never speak of me that way. He tells me I'm still the most beautiful woman he's ever met. And we're not together, and we're never going to be together. But, you know, he will never talk ill of me. And I'm not even the mother. We don't share children.
Right.
You know, we have from different marriages is where our children came from. So
I'm saying, like, my husband doesn't see this me. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
The woman he fell in love with, the mother of his children. He sees me as the most beautiful, amazing person in the world because I gave him 3 gorgeous children, you know, and we've spent 30 years together, and we've known each other like you. I've known my husband since I was 13, 12, something like that.
Yeah. I was much older.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's the thing is, like, I've known him my whole life. He would never think of saying that about me or to me, you know, and he says some nasty shit to me. Don't get me wrong. When we're in an argument, he says some shitty shit. All right,
there's a reason we can't reconcile. So
right. Okay, guys, we're only about 11 minutes into this call, and if you are turning in late, just know this is a call. This is the first call between me and Gypsy in 2017, and it will go on our YouTube after this live is over. Knock on wood that they don't get it shut down for anything. And then I will put that up there and you guys can hear the whole thing. And then I'm actually going to post this with an enhanced audio so you guys can hear it better as well with no commentary whatsoever. All right, let's keep going here.
Which is to bring awareness.
Right. Awareness.
Very first call.
Exactly. Because I think, and one of the things that I did when I heard about the story and then I watched the documentary and I did, I got involved in that case discussion, and I'm sure your mom's told you about it and things, and people say the most horrible, awful things in there. And I feel like a lot of that though is because of ignorance. And they just don't understand. Like, they just don't. They don't get what you went through. They don't have any understanding of what really Munchausen by proxy is. They don't know what you've been through. They don't understand any of those things. So they're making extremely generalized statements about something that they really just don't understand. And I feel like...
I completely get it. Because, you know, there's been, even in the environment that I live in now, there's people like that. And it's very difficult because I grow defensive and I'm like, I want to explain myself. But at the time, I have to pull myself back and be like, oh, they don't understand and I cannot make them understand.
No, you can't. You know, and that was one of the things is like I defended, you know, you and your mom and your dad because I felt like people were saying things that were just completely ridiculous. Like somebody saying, well, she should have just got up and walked away. That's what I would have done. You don't know what you would have done. You have no clue. When you're not in that situation, you're not faced with something like this, you have no idea what you would do. And I kept telling people, you're looking at this as a logical thing. Of course, yes. Could she get out of her wheelchair and walk and go away? Sure, she sure could. You're absolutely right. But this isn't a logical situation, guys. So you're looking at it with what you as a regular person would do. You have no idea what this family's been through. And for you to make a statement,
facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Sorry.
She also didn't have somebody that would actually take her away.
About these people,
What'd you say?
She didn't have anybody that would legitimately take her away anyway. Otherwise, she would have.
Right. Holly Marie, this is my first call from 8/14/2017 with Gypsy Rose. This is me and her.
For knowing them is just it's just disrespectful and horrible. And so I really just want to make sure, the more that we do this and the better that we put out there, the more people will actually understand, and it's really dear to me to make sure that people do understand something like this, because it's saving kids' lives, and you're not the first case and you won't be the last case of this. But if we can get an awareness, I think every single person that came into contact with you now looks back and is like, oh my God, if I had only, and if we can.
And I showed signs and I tried to reach out to people.
Right.
I didn't verbally say help me or anything, but I did run from home once, and the things that had happened while I had ran away, the people I met, you would think that they would think maybe something's wrong. I'm in a wheelchair. They see me in a wheelchair at one point, and then the very couple next weeks after that, I'm not in a wheelchair, walking fine. So they question, why is that?
So that's her admitting that she did get up and walk.
What about the neighbors in the next neighborhood over? They gave her a ride to the hospital. She showed up at 1:00 in the morning, ringing their doorbell, wanting a ride to the hospital for Dan. They said specifically she was not in a wheelchair. She wasn't wearing glasses. She had a wig on. She looked normal. They didn't even know who she was until they saw her on the news. So
people saw her walking in the neighborhood all the time. People saw her walking in the neighborhood all the time. They told us that when it first came. That's the thing. I tried to tell you guys this. I tried to explain to you that she did get up and walk, and she did do different things. Because why? Because Dee Dee wasn't telling everyone she was fucking paralyzed. What she was telling them is she doesn't walk well. She can't
muscle
walk.
Dystrophy.
And it's going to get worse. And so when she would tell people it's going to get worse, what did Gypsy do? She played it up so that she could get more sympathy from her mother and not be held accountable for anything.
Yep.
And then get a bunch of charity shit. Like, it was her.
Exactly. In which, if you recall, I had said that I remember seeing the Snow Gypsy account or whichever account on Facebook years ago on the Facebook yard sale sites, begging constantly, and they got backlash for it. Constantly begging. I think there was one specific post I remember that sticks out where they were online and they said something about, we need a new motorized wheelchair for Gypsy because hers is no longer working.
Okay.
And people were like, we don't believe that story because the post doesn't exist. Those sales sites don't exist anymore that I can find. I can't find them. But however, I find it interesting because not long after I found the guy that did go and fix her motorized wheelchair not long after.
Right.
So, and there's proof of that. There's a post.
Yep.
So, but like they were online and I can't figure out if it was Gypsy because remember, Gypsy was the one that was filing all these charity things and not Dee Dee. She was giving them to Dee Dee and saying, look what we got.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
What was it? The Disney trips, whoever, Make a Wish.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, she was doing this. Dee Dee wasn't doing this. And by the time that 2009 rolled around and Gypsy was over the age of 18, I don't think that Dee Dee was cognitively able to do a whole hell of a lot. I think she really was mentally incapacitated a lot. Like, I do believe that. And I do believe the accident was severe enough that her noodle.
I can tell you, every time I saw Dee Dee, I had never seen her angry or look upset. She was always smiling. I just didn't like them because of what I knew.
Right. And I mean, that I can understand that. And see, the thing is like, I don't think people understand that don't live in impoverished areas, how these systems work and how it is taught to you to use the system to the biggest and best ability of yourself. Okay. Like, do I think that Dee Dee was conning? No, I don't. But I do think
it started with Rod.
Oh.
Because Rod has a history. Rod and his dad have a history of doing these things.
Yes. And if you talk to New Orleans lady, it was always from the day that she was born, the entire family and Christy and Rod all went all over the bayou telling everybody Gypsy wasn't sick. Bobby, Claudia, Evans, Dorla, Rod, Christy, Laura, Claude Sr., all saying that she wasn't sick. With no proof whatsoever. Just, they didn't believe her. They just thought Gypsy was fine. Yes, Rod is a scammer. Yes, and his dad was a thief. So, I mean, you guys, like, you have to look at this. And then when she gets to Missouri is when all the crazy scamming happens. And there are 2 doctors, allegedly, in my opinion, for entertainment and educational purposes only, that were involved in all of that.
And I still think
David, and one of them has David had a hand. Scam.
I think David had a hand because David wanted to pay out. Just like David was head of the charities for VisionCon and Kim was overseeing all the money in.
Yeah.
You know, and David couldn't hold a job for more than a couple of weeks at all. They were hurting for money. They were filing bankruptcies. So here's your motive.
They did, Anastasia. They did lose their home in Katrina. They really did. That's verified. They did. I've seen the home. I have talked to the people in the neighborhood that were there in the apartment complex and everything. They really did. They were really displaced. And she didn't want to leave Missouri. I mean, she didn't want to leave Louisiana. Dee Dee didn't want to go to Missouri, but they were sending everybody everywhere because they were air flighting people out all over the place and dispersing them out to other states because the state couldn't take care of all of them. And Dee Dee had even still had a plan to come back to Louisiana from Missouri, and her family convinced her that there were warrants out for her arrest, which was 100% false. Her family convinced her.
All of her warrants were recalled and taken care of. I looked those up myself.
Yep.
I still have those.
And here's the funny thing. They're sitting there telling you that there's warrants out for her arrest. Well, you know who would have been the people that put the warrants out for her arrest? Her fucking family.
Yep. Yeah, everything that she was in trouble for was completely recalled. All 5 cases.
There you go. Exactly. But they convinced Dee Dee she couldn't come back. So she embraced Missouri.
And before anybody said that she was a thief writing hot checks, let me remind you, these cases even show what she wrote checks for. They were for minimal amounts, very minimal amounts, at like Winn-Dixie, and it was probably for baby products for Gypsy that she needed. They were literally under $20 each, and they were spread out. I don't think Rob was helping her.
She lived in her car at one point, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They lived in their car. You know, like, anyway, I digress. Let me keep playing here.
Sure. And that was what I told Christy. I said, everybody just failed her.
from home once, and
Right.
you know, the things that had happened while I had ran away, the people I met, you would think that they would think maybe something's wrong. You know, I'm in a wheelchair.
Sure.
They see me in a wheelchair.
Why
at
did
one
it go
point,
backwards?
And then the very couple next weeks after that, I'm not in a wheelchair, walking fine. So you know,
Only a
Right.
couple seconds.
why is that?
Yeah, it just rewinded
Sure.
itself. I don't know why.
Sure.
It's like,
And that was what I told, I told Christy, I said, everybody just failed her. Doctors failed you. And that's very interesting to me is the doctors. Like, I don't understand how that even happens. And I'm very interested in seeing that and looking at what was written and what your mom said to them and how did they miss this? How? I don't understand, and that's unfathomable to me because I have a daughter, and she's just graduated from high school, but we've been through horrible things with her trying to diagnose certain things that she has, and to me, it's like me getting a doctor to even listen to me has been insanity, but then here's Dee Dee, who goes off and can explain all this stuff to them based on her word only, and nobody questions it. I don't understand how that even happens. And then there is a doctor who questions it but doesn't do anything. Are you kidding me? It's just, and so I feel like you were just failed miserably. And what I want to do is show how that happened, and let people know, hey, you know what? She didn't do this because she's just a terrible person who wanted to kill her mom. That's not what this is. In my opinion, I told Christy, it's kind of a killer be killed situation because that's how Munchausen ends. It doesn't end with in a happy scenario where people walk away. It doesn't. And the fact that you survived, right? The fact that you survived for as long as you did is a miracle, Gypsy. It's an absolute miracle because, most of the kids don't live more than a couple of years when this is happening because it gets so bad. And I told your mom, I said, I just think that where it was going, you were getting older. And
so somebody took that on this post and made a comment on this post, and they had said, a killer be killed situation. Yo, so not only is Gypsy a carnival variety parrot, Fancy is straight up lying, saying that's how most cases go. Gypsy is literally the only case, because it's not, of MVP where the victim unalive the perpetrator. That is actually insane. That's not at all what I said. If you'd actually listened to what I freaking said, I said that most often the children end up dead. And that is the truth. That is the truth. They end up dead. The kids end up dead. That's what happens in these MVP cases. And it doesn't take 23 years. It takes, yes, it is true that the children die. Yes. Most of them.
And let's not forget that this is just the story that they wanted everyone to believe. And they got majority to believe for the longest time.
Right.
So that was what most people sympathized with is, unalive or being unalive.
I get it. I was enabling her at the time because I believed her story. Because we didn't have the information. All we had was her word. We had nothing.
The FOIA's changed it all.
The FOIA's changed everything. And I'd always known from the time I saw the interrogation video, I saw the interrogation video and that was the end for me. And I began really questioning everything. But the thing is why they didn't like me is because I had questioned everything from the very beginning. And that was what was bothering them, is that I wouldn't let anything go. I would just ask questions and questions and questions. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, wait a minute, you said this and that doesn't make any sense. And And that's because I think in the back of my head, I always knew something wasn't right. But then I saw the interrogation video and I got the case file. And, that was when I was like, oh, wait.
And even then, you still only had a little piece to go on.
I still only had little pieces, and that's why, everybody's like, oh, Fancy's told this or that or this theory or that theory. That's all we had. That's all we had,
Trying to make sense of a messed up situation. you know?
It was very hard. And like I said, yes, I projected. I did. I know that now, but it took me going through all of this to learn what really happened. And I can say, I'll be honest, this 10 years has been one of the worst and most interesting and educational parts of my life.
It's taken a toll on you, I can tell.
It definitely has. It has. And it's taking, this is hard for me too. Like, listening to these phone calls is not the same for me as it is for everyone else. It just isn't.
And when people sit there and attack you for, getting passionate, and they perceive it as, oh, well, Fancy is just getting mad and she's just raging. She's going off on people. No, people. She is passionate. She's not here to kiss butts of everybody. She's trying to get truths out there and get, this is her way of putting things out. Everybody does things differently. If you don't like it, there's other people that do it a different way.
I never did that. I never freaked out like that unprovoked. That's what people don't understand. Is it wasn't like, oh, I'm just talking with Trixie and then all of a sudden I'm just going to start yelling at Lorraine for no freaking reason. No. Right. What would happen is they would send people in droves. They would come in as groups. Yep. And they would just say things to hurt me and drive me crazy and just bother me until I would lose my shit. And then they'd be like, look at her. She's lost her shit. Well, okay, that's a narcissistic tactic. Did you know that?
Just like the whole Nicholas infiltration video.
Yeah.
That they keep replaying. And we all took that at face value at first. But when the FOIAs came out, I saw things in a whole new light with Fancy. And I'm like, that was not to be portrayed the way that everybody had portrayed it, myself included. And I even apologized to Fancy for my part. And,
you have a later phone call where she and Brian are talking about Dawn, and Dawn admits to him that she was talking to him for a whole freaking year before Gypsy even knew, anybody knew. Okay, that's from Dawn. And then you have the one, are you dabbling with? No, for God's sakes, no, naughty Wendy, no. Get out of here with your nonsense, okay? We're not talking about that. And no, I'm not. For God's sakes. You guys are you're like a little sewing circle. You all just run around and cause just chaos and say just weird shit about everybody. And then you wonder why people don't like people. Why we're all fighting.
But creators can also coexist together and be on panels together and have conversations. That includes Gypsy's friends and still talk about other things outside of Gypsy and get along. Yep. They don't have to be friends. That doesn't mean anything. I don't correspond with Gypsy, and I don't think Fancy does either. So
no. And see, like the manipulation of the call that I heard that really got me deciding that I didn't want to talk about the calls at first because I was so upset. I was so upset about the call I heard with Ken where they're breaking up. Didn't that group threaten Sweet as Honey? Honey is her own fucking problem. Don't freaking buy into her bullshit, okay?
She's been on such a rampage lately on TikTok that she was going after Nadeka, calling her all kinds of names in comments. I saw that and I'm like, holy cow, what? Because Nadeka had told me she was being so hateful towards her.
No, she's lied all about me in all kinds of ways too. Okay, and that's what happens. Is you guys, these content creators all just hear something that they think and they just run with it. Like I was just saying, okay, so the call that made me very upset and made me say, I'm so sorry for what happened in 2019, Ken and Gypsy, for my interview with In Touch and all of that and putting it out there. Like I was visibly upset because I had never, okay, that's funny. The call that she put out, she called me a scammer and said that I had Don Boker go in there. She just did that the other day. So, yeah, she talks about me all the time. She used to. She just doesn't anymore because she knows she can't. She knows she shouldn't. It's not going to go over well anymore. But anywho, the call that upset me, now I find out, yes, that call happened. Yes, it was upsetting that Raina, is saying this stuff to her and Ken is dealing with it. And I felt for them in that moment. And then I find out she fucking calls Brian and tells Brian that everyone thinks that they broke up because of me, but it was her. So she portrayed that to everyone, that I was the cause of their breakup. But she tells Brian, Nah, it was her. She did it. It was her. It's her fault.
You know what I am hearing in some of these calls so far, and I'm sure it's going to be the rest of them too, is she'll sit there and say, I take accountability for my part in the crime and what I did was wrong, but she doesn't feel sorry. She feels no remorse. That's what we don't hear. If she'll take responsibility, or she'll say it over and over and over again, but she does not feel any sort of way about it.
No.
She thinks she shouldn't have been locked up for that long. And that's
She didn't think
what's
she
in
should
my
have gone to
phone
jail
call.
at all.
Nope. She said,
And
I
say
think
that
this
in this
isn't
call.
fair.
I do say that in this call. I'm like, what was worth it for sending you to prison for 10 years? And I still kind of stand on that. If you weren't going to put her in there for life, all you did was create a bigger fucking problem. She needed to go somewhere where she could get mental health help and learn how to be a regular person if you're going to put her in society. Otherwise, you should have given her life. The end. Period.
Yep. And Nick's serving out that life sentence. Although I think he's safer where he's at, so.
I do too. I think he
can't
has
be
a structured
controlled.
life. I think it's I think it's a better situation for him. I hate to say that, it's not nice.
Yeah.
I don't like to think that, but I think it actually is a good place for him to, you know.
She can't get to him completely there.
Oh my God, we're at 25,000, guys. Thank you so much for tapping and sharing. Thank you, Jay. If you could, and by the way, this is no makeup and no freaking filter. So, you know, but I'm fat ass fugly fancy, right? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what was I saying? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I was manipulated. And you know, that's the thing is, and I've had to understand that about myself, like, because I'm not normally a manipulatable person. Okay. But because of my autism and my own experience with my mother and what happened with her, that clouded my judgment until I saw proof and evidence that made it clear to me that the story they were telling wasn't true. And then every day,
you're not at fault. You're not at fault like anybody else for believing her shit. I mean,
right?
If people had to blame you for it, they need to blame all the tens of thousands of people that fell for it too.
Yeah, yeah. And I fought hard for them, valiantly for them. And you can hear in this call, all I ever wanted to do was help them, and all I ever wanted to do was tell the truth. There is nothing else. I'm going to hold anybody coming up on the panel till I get through this damn call. So we're about 17 minutes into an hour call. So.
Oh, snap. Well, I'm actually going to hop down because I'm going to get ready for work.
No problem, girl. Thank you for coming.
It was good to see you, though.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, Trixie. All right, guys, we'll probably get through it a little faster here, so let's keep going.
She was getting more desperate.
Right. And I thought it could be where I would get more sicker as I got older. And
right.
I guess, you know, I don't
Not
know
yet,
how
Christy.
it would have all ended, but you know, me and Mom, we don't like to think about that. But we're curious at, you know, certain points of things where it's like, well, what happened if, you know, I hadn't made this big decision, you know, and it would have just continued on.
Right.
Because I probably wouldn't have tried to speak out, again, after running away.
Right.
You know, just things like that. It would have just kept on and started getting worse and worse and worse.
Right. And I'm sure you felt hopeless. I mean, I can't imagine what you were going through. My heart just goes out to you completely. You know, do I think it was the right choice? Probably not. And I'm sure you know that it wasn't.
Oh, I know.
You know, but what choices did you have? You had tried to tell people. You had tried to reach out. You had tried to run away, you know, and nobody was listening to you. And I can honestly tell you that I sympathize with that the most because my mom, you know, and it was very, like I said, I love my mom dearly, and she's a good person and was a very good grandmother to my children. And my children they can't believe that their grandmother was anything other than what they saw, you know. But she was. And
she was just a sick person. She was sick, and she had problems, and she admitted that later in life as an adult, and we worked through those things. But there were times that I did the same thing. I ran away, and I did all kinds of different things to try and escape. I even entered the military at one point because I just wanted to leave home, and nobody was listening. And so I have a real animosity towards my mother's family because they knew and they just weren't listening. And one day, my grandfather was passing, and I had gone home to visit for that, and I got into an argument with my aunt and my uncle. And my cousin says, I don't understand why you're so angry. And I said, do you even know what happened to me going through childhood? Do you even know? He's like, well, I know you had a lot of problems with your mom. I said, you don't know, do you? And my uncle looked at me and said to me, we knew, and we had no idea what to do. And that made me so angry. I said, you knew. You absolutely knew that mom was doing these things. And you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. And now you want to know why I'm an angry person. Well, maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe that's why. And maybe that's why. And I said, you know what? This is why I don't come home and visit you guys anymore. Because this was upsetting to me. And you guys look at me, I've done everything in my life to support myself and take care of myself and do everything for myself. I didn't have, somebody who gave me a college education or a car or any of these things. I did everything for myself. But yet this family does not support me, even though I have done all of these things on my own. And I said, and now you stand here and tell me that you knew the entire time that these things were happening and you did nothing. So I just can't be a part of this family anymore. And so I understand that, like wanting out and wanting someone to listen to you and nobody listening. I told 1 million people and nobody did anything. Nobody ever stopped it. I mean, CPS was never called. Nobody said, hey, let's get her out of this environment. Nothing, and I had the same kind of thing where my mother told me that my dad was, terrible and all these things. And is my dad a great guy? He's not.
My mother was absolutely right about my father, by the way. So I'm going to tell her that I had, at this time, I had a relationship with my father as an adult, but I no longer do because I realized that what my mother said about my father was true and that that it's me. This is who's talking. Me, who's talking. I did realize that my dad was everything my mother said he was, and that he was a terrible person, and that he wasn't a good dad, and that he didn't care about me, and all of that shit. Like, all of that. Everything my mother said, I learned. And I made the decision as an adult that I didn't want my children to be faced with the same abandonment that I felt when my dad left me at 6. So I cut my dad out of their lives. I said, you're either going to be in their lives or you're not going to be in their lives. You don't get to come in and out. And he was. And he married a woman that was, basically he bought a woman from the Philippines and brought her over here. And we don't even think that she was of age, So like my dad is not a good person. He's not. And is he a horrible person? No. But is he a good person? No. Was he a good dad? Absolutely fucking not. Never, not once in his life was he a good dad. So, I've been through it, which is why this story impacted me the way it did,
He's a fantastic person. He's not a bad person. I have some sort of a relationship with him now, but but it was hard. And I went through it just being me and mom. And people don't understand that as a child, you just believe what your parents tell you.
I never questioned it because, I always, when I was little, I had a very good relationship with my mom. She was my best friend.
Right.
It wasn't until I got older that it was like, why am I not like...
It wasn't until I started sleeping around with men twice my freaking age and acting like a complete asshole that I had a bad relationship with my mom. That's what she basically just said right there, guys. You've heard her again. She had a great relationship with her mom growing up. It wasn't until she became a let's use your word, slutbag, okay, that your mama and you had problems. Duh.
The girls in my neighborhood, how can
right.
I go to the mall and hang out with their friends, but I can't. It was just
right.
questioning that as I got
sure.
older.
Sure.
And so it was definitely a very dysfunctional relationship between me and her.
Absolutely.
But it was never violent until after I ran away and she had
Right.
to a bed and
Okay, so right there, it was never violent until 2019 or 2011. Sorry, 2019, 2011, when I ran away to Dan's and they didn't want me at Dan's. And so his friends contacted Kim and David to come get me out of there because they thought I was a freako, that it got bad between me and my mom. Why? Because of what you were doing. You were doing rugs. You were selling rugs with Dan. You were running all over the freaking place. She couldn't control you. You were acting like a lunatic. And she was trying to keep a disabled child safe from predatory men. And apparently you never learned that lesson. You just never learned that lesson, girlfriend. Ever. I did. You never did.
Right, and I heard a little bit about that in the documentary, which was very interesting.
Disability
I wanted
fetish.
to know about that more, and we can get into all of those things when we sit down and talk more. And I told Christy, I said, this was, by all accounts, a perfect
Open that door again.
Everything aligned for this one thing to happen, and it was a series of events. And those series of events is what is interesting to me, because if you had met anyone else besides Nick, this wouldn't have happened. Right. It wouldn't have. It just wouldn't have. And it's like, how did you know? I mean, people are like, oh, she convinced this guy and she conned him. Like, guys, she didn't go to murderersrs.com.
No.
She went to a Christian dating site, for heaven's sake.
Exactly.
I don't think I cannot fathom that she would go on a Christian dating site and be like, I would like somebody to kill my mom. Who would like to do this?
But I guess it did happen like that.
Couldn't have happened.
It's even like they had an incident. I'm sure you read in the support group that they had 2 women that were picking on me, and that's what they were trying to say, is that like I had went on this dating website to try and find someone to do this, and I'm like, no, I went on that dating website because I wasn't getting the love that I needed at home. So I thought maybe if I could find a boyfriend or something to get that emotional love.
Right.
And I met Nick because his profile said that he was into video.
I think what you were doing was conning men into sending you money. I think that's what you were doing. I really think that. I think you had tricks, Gypsy, just like you did in prison. Thank you guys for all the likes and the love and the claps, and keep on going. Please take a moment, drop a FYP in the chat or a comment so that it helps us push out into the algorithm. We got 118 people in here, guys, so let's make sure we get this out there. And again, remember, this is going to go on our YouTube afterwards, so if you're just joining us, you're going to go ahead and be able to see the whole thing again from the beginning to the end. So she is a very big con artist. I think she is one of the biggest con artists I've ever seen. I do, and I think her whole family is. And I think, honestly, that is their actual problem with Dee Dee, is that Dee Dee wasn't like them. And because she wasn't like them, she was dangerous to them. Because she didn't want to do all those things. Dee Dee wanted to leave. Dee Dee wanted to be famous. Dee Dee wanted to have a life outside of the bayou. And the rest of them are not. They don't give a shit. That's what their life is. And they're fine with it. That's their whole thing. And if they have to scam to do it, True Crime with Mo. I have never seen any proof ever that Dee Dee was racist. I'm not saying she wasn't, because it is very predominant in the area. First of all, the South is like that, but even that specific area is like that specifically. So I don't think so. I really, it is in the phone calls with Gypsy? Nice. So no, I don't believe she was, but I think the rest of the family was, and is. Yeah. Allegedly, in my opinion, for entertainment educational purposes only, so I don't get in trouble. All right, let's keep going, guys. We're about halfway through, almost halfway through.
Video games. And that's what caught my attention, okay? So it wasn't that I was like trying to speak out and you wanted to do this in particular, you know?
Right. No, and that's what I said, and I'm sure that it became a hopelessness situation of I have no idea what to do. What do I do? You know, and when you're backed against a wall, you do things that no one would ever expect you to do. And I'm sure it wasn't like, I'm just going to kill her and that's what's going to happen. I'm sure that's not what happened. I'm sure there was a lot of things that went into that. And you know, and it is what it is. And I don't agree with what happened to you. I don't agree at all that you're where you should be. I don't think that this is the right place for you. But then again, I don't know where else would be better. You know, I don't, unless you were out.
I am getting better with things, and I'm in school.
Right. And I'm so glad for that. I'm glad that you're taking that approach, because somebody else could have taken an approach of, well, my life is over, and, you know, I might as well just give in. And I'm so proud of you for being the person to keep going and to realize that there is still value in your life. Right. And that, you know, you have a purpose, and you have, you know, and I'm a type of person that I try to find what was a good in a bad situation. And, you know, so this was terrible, and I'm sure it was the most awful thing for you ever, all of it, you know. But like you said, if you can do one thing to help one person, right. You know, and that's kind of why I did my story. You know, when I said to him, I have bipolar disorder, and I went into that deep depression after losing my mom.
By the way, I do not have bipolar disorder now. They thought that I did. They misdiagnosed me with it back then. So I don't have bipolar disorder. My mental health was about my environment and how I had been raised, but I'm not bipolar. But at the time, I thought I was.
And when I came out of it, I wanted to tell the story of a person who is a normal person who had some really bad things happen, and how I overcame that, and so that I could help other people, you know, because a lot of times the depiction of a bipolar...
If you didn't hear her, she said something like, that's so amazing, or that's inspiring, or whatever. I know it's hard to hear her.
Person in movies and TV is that of, you know, a crazy person who goes out and kills people at a movie theater, or the Vietnam veteran on the street that's completely insane and talks to people. But they don't show that there are just everyday normal people who deal with this every day. And a family that has, and it's not just about the one person, it's about the entire family. And that's what I feel your story is too. This is about everyone, and there is so much to be told in this, and so much that people can learn, you know, and to understand.
Absolutely, because that's what I would want to be shown, and I want something that can maybe be shown from the very beginning to even like now, or even the time that I went to, you know, when I first went to prison. So it's like I want it to come full circle. I know that I'm not out yet, but I'm on a better road now, and I would want to know that there is, you know, hope at the end of a very dark tunnel.
So,
and I always say, yes, I absolutely regret what happened, but I don't regret the love and all the support and all the blessings that have come out of it.
Exactly. And, you know, like I said, people judging you, you know, people judge you and they have no understanding of your situation. And I thought about this, like, when I was in high school, we were having a debate concerning abortion and whether people should have abortions or not abortions. And, you know, and I'm very much, I don't believe it's right for me, but I don't believe I have a right to tell another person what they can do. And there was a kid who was like, it's wrong always, no matter what, blah, blah, blah. You know, and he was very adamant. And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, so I have this scenario for you and I'd like you to think about this. I said, so if you were married and you had 2 children and your wife was pregnant again, and then you found out that there was something wrong with the pregnancy and that it was choosing between this life and your wife, you know, I said, so which one would you choose? Absolutely, I'd choose the baby. I said, I don't think you would, and you can't say that you would. I said, so you're telling me that a life that you've never met
is more important to you than the mother of the 2 children that you already have, I don't think that that's how you would handle that situation. But you know what? You won't know until you're in that situation.
Exactly.
And so for you to say that it's black and white is completely insane, because nothing is black and white. It's never one way or the other. And there's always 1,000 reasons why something happens. And there's always 3 sides to every story. There's the truth, and then there's your side, and then there's my side.
Right.
And, you know, and somewhere in between your side and my side is what really happened. And I want to make sure that that's what we tell, you know. So I want to talk to everybody. You know, I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to Mom and Dad, and I want to talk to the Pitry family and find out about Dee Dee when she was young, and how all this started. And it's very interesting to me, you know, that this started when you were young, and how it progressed, and how did she continue on, and why, you know, and what causes a person to do this. And I want to talk to, you know, people to explain what the doctors were thinking, and I want to look at all of that, you know. And so I really want to take a long look at all of this with all the information. And that's why I told your dad, I said, no, he asked me if it would take a long time, and I said, the longest thing that this is going to take is the research into looking into how we want to tell this story.
You're welcome,
because I'm going to be
Sadie.
very careful. And I want to make sure that it's a positive story in the end, and that we show the real truth behind all of it, and lay it all on the table and go, this is everything that happened, and this is why, and this is how it happened. And so that people can walk away really fully understanding what took place.
Right.
Because if you do, like I said again, if you try to do that in a 2-hour movie, it's not going to happen.
You just
No one's going to
get a bunch of confusing information, and you're kind
Right.
of wondering, you know, okay,
Yeah.
so this happened, but why did it happen? And,
right.
you know, it doesn't
There were
make
so many questions. Like, the documentary was wonderful. I think Aaron did a great job. I think it was very well done. I think it was impactful. It got the word out. It did cause awareness. But the questions that came up out of that for me were even more than I had going in. Like, once I saw the documentary, I was like, well, now I've got 9,000 more questions. Like, you know, I'm like, that was wonderful, but now I have way more things to even think about and why.
Yes, Rue, I do. I do feel conned. I was smart enough to figure it out faster than a lot of people, but yes, I do feel conned. I do. I do feel bad for promoting the fake narrative, but we didn't know anything back then. We didn't have medical records yet. We didn't have interrogation. We didn't have the FOIA files. We didn't have videos. We didn't have supplemental reports. We had nothing. We had nothing. And they made sure that we had nothing, you know, because they took this plea deal and it buried all the evidence. And they just thought that that was going to be the end of it. They never expected someone like me to really dig into it and stay on their neck the whole time. They didn't expect that.
Why did this happen, you know? And it's just, I want to know all of that and make sure that I tell that, you know? And I don't know what you'll get with anyone else. But like I said, I can promise you that that is my goal. And that I want to partner with you guys and do this. I don't want to just come in and be like, okay, I'm going to buy the rights to your story and you get no say in the matter and I'm going to walk away. And people can do that.
And the reason I'm talking about this is because that's what Michelle Dean was doing to them. And that's what they were telling me was happening with Michelle Dean, except that's not what was happening with Michelle Dean. They were lying. Again. More. Always.
And my job is, you know, my job would be to try to protect you from all of that. And, you know, making sure that it's the story you guys want, because that's the most important thing to me. I think that that is the most important part of this whole thing. It's not about money and it's not about anything else. It's how does this story get told? Because you can never trust what anyone else is going to do unless you're completely involved, you know?
Right. And it's kind of like I'm giving, you know, once I give my life right, that's giving someone the power to
Sure.
kind of tell my story however they want it to be.
They want to do it, right.
And she knew that. She knew what life rights really meant, guys. She tried to tell me earlier in the conversation. You didn't have any idea, but she did. She did.
it's like, at the end of it all, I'm going to be coming out of prison, so I do have to live in this world.
Right.
If this, horrible monster, then life is going to be kind of hell for me. But I mean, if it's told how it is, then I can at least have some understanding. People will have their opinions either way about me.
Either way, absolutely.
I've come to a point where I'm okay with that. They have their right to their opinions. And does it hurt me sometimes? Yes, but I think it's only because they don't know the full story. And even if they do, it's not up to me to change their mind. And I don't even have to owe them that.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't owe them anything, Gypsy. You don't. You absolutely don't. You owe you, and you owe your family. And that's it, and you need to think about you guys and make sure that what you're doing is the right best thing for you. And, when I contacted Christy, that was one of the things that I wanted to tell her, because I knew, in being in this industry, I knew that every snake in the world would come out of the woodwork and want this story. And so I wanted to, am I doing it for charity work? Obviously not. I want to get paid too. But do I want $40 million to do this? No. I want whatever the studio will pay for it, and I will share those profits with the family, and make sure that everybody's taken care of, and that, you have things that you can do. And I don't know exactly what the legality, what you can and cannot receive and how that works. I don't know. I want to make sure that we do that and go through that and set you guys up in the best way that you can. And I'm going to be an advocate for you guys and getting the best deal and the best story told. And I didn't want to just let you guys be in this feeding frenzy of, let's just have anybody and anyone come up to you, And the first guy that came out of the thing is like, I can have a contract to you next week and I can get L fanning attached. But sure you can. Of course you can. I can too. But I don't. But that's
exciting and everything, and it's like
sure.
So that is exciting. But I even told Mom and Dad, I'm like, I want to be smart about this.
Right.
And of course, I want to get in royalties to make sure that I have a set future, of course.
Right.
Of course, I need a job, but that.
No,
it's I want my story to be told how it is, and I want to be given royalties. And for like the Michelle Dean project with Hulu, she said that she would give me half of whatever she would get paid. This isn't in writing. This is on someone's word. And in that kind of industry, someone's word it's not that great.
Which is why I offered the contract that Melissa Moore said was the worst contract ever. It was not. It was written by an actual lawyer, not me. And I paid for that. And that's why I did the contract the way I did, because I wanted them to know I was serious and I didn't want to screw them over like anyone else was doing so. It's every step of the way I tried to be honest and caring for them, and all they fucking did was just lie to me and use me and hurt me in every which way they possibly could, and threaten my life many times.
Right, but in the same sentence, she also told Christy, well, I don't have to have the rights. I can just do whatever I want, and I don't need you to be involved.
Right,
and that to me is not. That's not honest. That's not honest. I mean, is she telling you the truth? She's absolutely telling you the truth. I could do the same thing. I could be like, you know what? I just want to get all the information I can get and walk away and be like, well, to heck with you guys. I've got the story I need, and this is what I'm going to tell. And you guys can't do a darn thing about it because it's public information. I could do that. Anyone can do that. But that's not what I'm after. I want to partner with you guys and work together to get this done, and make sure. And I told Christy that I want to make sure it's truthful. Mm-hmm. So if that means that the best light is not painted on everyone, then that's what happens. Because I just want it to be really truthful.
Right, and just as the same as with the rest of everybody that will come out of the woodwork, the same goes for the Petrie side of my family. I will be honest and tell you that only Bobby Petrie has been there by my side.
Sure.
For,
my aunts, my uncles. I haven't even heard from my uncles in over 17 years. They haven't contacted me yet so far. Now, of course, I have talking to my aunt Claudia, which is my cousin Tiffany's mom. And, I won't say that she's not supportive. We're on talking terms. As for my...
They weren't supportive of Christy and Rod. We hear that in later phone conversations with both Darla and Claudia.
Darla, she said that I should burn in hell. So
Well, they're an interesting family. I mean, just from the documentary, they are just a really strange, interesting family.
They are.
I mean, it was so funny. I paused it, and my daughter is my writing partner, and so I paused it and I called her out there because at first she was like, I don't know about the story, Mom. I don't really want to get involved in it. It scares me. And then I got her to watch the documentary, and she was very interested in it. But the first thing I showed her was I'm like, you got to see this house. You've got to see this house that these people are living in. And I paused it, and they're sitting in that blue kitchen. This blue, really crazy kitchen. I'm like, look at this house. This is crazy. I don't have a house that looks like this.
Yeah, okay, but it was like the scene was crazy. It looked like an under the ocean scene with like two very randomly weird people in there. Like Claude's got his he's like sitting there in a wife beater and his long socks, and Miss Laura looks like disheveled. Like it was the weirdest freaking scene ever. Like it really was. And I'm going to tell you what, I went to that house and it is really weird. They are weird. It is weird. It was all weird. Just weird. Just weird.
That is hilariously funny, but yet so super sad. And they're sitting there, and I'm like, look at these people. They are the most interestingly strange people ever. I'm like, and this is where Dee Dee comes from. So of course she's interestingly weird as her own, because look what this family is like. I'm like, I want to know what these people are like. This is so weird. And she was like,
I don't know if it is in the water or something, but we have a couple of wackos on the Petrie side. My mom was one of them.
Couldn't possibly be the reef that you all call a family tree, right? Couldn't possibly be that. It's not that, right? No, that doesn't cause any problems in the mental health or physical health of anybody. It's just in the water down there. That's it. That's what it is. It's just in the water down there.
And
I'm like, and then it's like the sad comment where he's like, well, they just said that they wanted us to flush her. And I'm like,
oh, I know.
Oh my God.
I was so mad. I was like, oh my God, that's disrespectful. I'm like, okay, it's bad enough that she hasn't cremated, but she didn't want to be cremated. I had no choice in the matter. It was the county's decision. And when my dad told me, I started crying because I'm like, I know that's not what she had wanted.
That's not true.
Oh, to hear, to have her own family say this, I'm like, oh, that's disrespectful. And then to make insult to injury, I guess one of the grandkids made a Facebook meme with the caption, just flush it down the toilet or whatever.
They are, user 9901. They are. Yep, they are.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh my God! And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, it's one thing if you're sitting next to your significant other and your daughter calls you and is like, what do I do with the remains of Dee Dee, who we think is terrible? And you say to that person, just flush them down the toilet. Okay, that is one thing. It's still terrible, but that is one thing. But to go on international TV and make this statement for everyone in the world to hear, I was like, holy crap, who does that?
Right.
Who even says that?
I know.
And it was so funny because you won't know what this is, but you might, but like when you go for a job application, there's a lot of places that have you fill out this assessment, and they ask you all these ludicrous questions of like, well, if someone was stealing, would you report it? And I'm like, who answers that no? And then I watched the documentary and I was like, well, there's the answer. Those are the people that actually are like, nah, I wouldn't tell anybody. I just totally do nothing. It's like, there are actual people out here who would answer that way. Wow.
Yes, absolutely. That is the Petrie side of the family for sure.
And it's like, wow, they are the people who answer those questions really truthfully. Like, I mean, would I or would I not? Yeah, I'm like, would I or would I not turn somebody in? Okay, maybe I wouldn't, but I'm not going to tell you that I wouldn't. Of course, that's not the right answer. I was like, geez, who even would answer that question that way? And he said that, and I was in shock. I was in shock. I sat there like, oh my God. So, and that's,
myself.
you know, and it's just like, and then they made the claims of like that your mom had poisoned her stepmom, and that she'd maybe poisoned her mother. And I'm like, and you knew this and you did nothing. Like, why, if that was something that you thought, did you ever think that maybe something was wrong with her? Like,
right.
How do you not make that choice?
There's so many secrets, and I mean, I'm not gonna obviously say the family secrets of certain people. But
thank you guys. Thank you so much for tapping and sharing. Thank you. We just got to 50,000. I really do appreciate it. You guys are amazing. This was on 8/14/2017. Just there for snacks. And so, okay, but I want to talk about that for a minute. What I said there is still true to this day. If these people, all these people, the Kali family, the Petrie family, Christy and Rod, all of them knew that she was supposedly, you know, stealing money, writing bad checks, she's poisoning people, she's trying to, you know, do credit card fraud on them, she's doing all this stuff, you're not sick and she's saying you're sick. So why would these people have left a child in her care? Why? Why would they help you find housing? Why would they continue to keep sending things? Why? Huh? You know, like, seriously? What the fuck? Who does that? Yes, it's Gypsy, but it's not on a live. I'm playing a phone call. It's okay, Dinky. This is me and Gypsy talking in 2017.
They have certain things that they want to keep private, and I'm fine with that. If they want to come out with it, then that's their decision. But I mean, even for me, like, there's something that I did not say in the documentary, and I didn't because I didn't want it. It wasn't the right time. I didn't. You know, and it was that my grandfather Claude molested me whenever I was 10.
Oh my goodness!
After me and Mom got into a very bad car accident that left her with a bad leg injury. So I didn't say that. I just said that me and Mom got into a bad accident, and we spent some time with my grandpa, and then we left. I didn't say, you know, why we left. And then, you know, whenever I told my mom that was happening, she confessed to me that the same thing happened to her whenever he did the same thing to her whenever she was younger, and it was actually still happening while it was happening to me. And what hurt was that whenever I told Dad and Christy about it, they didn't believe me. And because they just felt like, was that something that Dee Dee put in her head? So, and then it wasn't until my cousin Jessica was talking to Christy on Facebook and confessed to her, like, Claude molested me, and so I believe Gypsy, what Gypsy said is true. I mean, it's like a 10-year-old will not, you know, accuse somebody of doing that. So it's,
in this family, they might, but...
So it's, you know, whenever I told them that, I was like, I was hurt that they didn't believe me, but then I had my cousin, too, that I didn't even know that happened to her, to kind of, you know, back up what I was saying. So now they believe me and stuff, so it's difficult, you know, it's difficult for them, because they don't want to think that happened to me, but it happened nonetheless.
And I understand that, and I've been through some similar things, and so has my daughter. So we completely sympathize with that as well. And it's funny because I made the same statement. My husband made it happen to my daughter, and my husband doesn't believe it either because it's his dad. And he's like, well, and I said, Craig, that's not something people make up. It's just not.
Right.
It's not something that a kid comes to you and makes up.
It was really hard for my husband. It still is hard for my husband. He accepted it. He understood it. But yeah, it was really hard because that was his hero. And it was all very shocking when it came out for our family. It was really incredibly shocking. And he did it to many kids in the family we didn't know. Like, it was really bad. And I sit on the fence about Claude. The more that I know about this family, the more that I do think it could be a possibility that something did happen. But I do think that Claude was inappropriate with Dee Dee for sure, because he didn't think she was his child, and she wasn't. So I think that was there. But Jesus, it's just such a messy thing. I don't know whether he did or he didn't. I have my suspicions on both sides of it. Like, that's the thing. And I think it's interesting that she's the one telling me that Christy and Rod. Oh, I agree. I think it could be Bobby for sure. For sure. We've now heard about Tiffany and peanut butter and, oh, I'm sorry. It might have. After everything we know and everything else, yeah. Claude is Bobby's father. Yeah. He is. Yeah. Claude Sr. is Bobby's father, but Claude Jr. raised Bobby as his own because it was his wife that Claude Sr. had an affair with. I don't know if he had an affair with her or he raped her, or I don't know. This family is so messed up. I don't put anything past any of them. That's where I'm at. And maybe that's where the sexual predatory with children comes from. I don't know. It comes from somewhere.
It just doesn't happen. I'm like, it's not in the realm of a 10-year-old to think of that, like you said.
Tracy Taylor, there is a family tree diagram and all kinds of information about the family tree on my YouTube. Hey, can we not get into it in the comments, please, guys? Okay? Let's not do that.
Right.
Yeah. And it just, it's such, like I said, like you said, there is so much to this story that goes beyond just this one thing, and I really want to make sure that that's all shown and told. And my thought process was a limited series, but hearing what you're saying, you're right. Maybe not just a limited series. Maybe it does go further than that, because I think it just we need to sit down and we need to look at all the information and process all of that, and then decide, all together how we want to pitch this and tell this to a person.
Right.
And
now, what's a limited series?
So a limited series would be something like a 13 episode first season thing, or a mini series. So, there's a lot of things out there called now that what Michelle Dean is doing is called an anthology series. And so that is a limited series, but it continues on because each season it tells a new story.
Right.
But what I wanted to do was not an anthology. I wanted to do just a limited series, which would be like 13 episodes or, 10 episodes or whatever it is that the network approves. But depending on how much content there is and how long we feel like it all depends on how long you think your audience is going to watch this. Is it something that you can have someone watch for 5 years, or is it something that is a one-time season, let's do 13 episodes and be done with it and move on, and it all just depends on how much story we have and what we're telling and how this goes on. And after talking to you, I can see the idea of this being more than one season, but it depends on how to sell it. I mean, it really does. And when the network signs off, I mean, that's what they sign off on. And so we will have to work through getting a network involved and saying, no, we really we would like to do more. And what we do when we're doing that is we show them in what's called a series Bible. It's called the series Bible. And what we do is we show them what the potential for further seasons would be. So we would talk to them and we would write the pilot and the rest of the limited series, write the first season, see where we end up, what we've gotten to and how we do. And then what we would do is pitch and say, okay, so this is our first season. This is what we want. We have plans for the first season. Here's what we would like to do for seasons 2, 3, and 4. And see. And then we go and wait and see what they say. And that's why I said, when you asked me, would this be on HBO or would this be on Lifetime? I don't know. It depends on how, and it depends on how we present it. Once we sit down and we think about it, I will take it to the people that I work with. I work with a company called Buffalo 8, and then I have a couple other independent producers who, have deals with different networks, and we can sit down and strategize. And I will keep you in the loop on all of that and let you know, what we're talking about and how we're discussing it, and make sure that you guys are comfortable with everything that we're doing. And that's the best I can offer you, And in the end, whatever I get, I'll give you, because that's the only way to do this. And one of the things I was trying to explain to your mom is, yes, you could take money up front and that would be fine, but that's not going to be the best situation, because that is a one and done. That is literally, you get a certain amount of money for telling your story and maybe a very small amount of a royalty, and then that's it. And then you don't get anything else. If you wait, and we do this together as a partnership, and then together we go, and I present it as the creator of the story and in conjunction with the family, and then presents that, then that gives you guys different things. Like you can have co-producing credits, and you can have different things that would give you a better return on what's going on and more investment into the project. But I don't know exactly what that'll be. I can simply write up that we're going to go ahead and we're going to do as the co-production, working together and telling the story that we want to do, and that we all have equal say, and we'll discuss everything together, and I would be the representative, and then, kind of just working with you guys. And then I would come back and produce, show you every single option that we have and go, look, this is what's on the table. Lifetime offered this, and HBO offered that, and Netflix offered this, and lay it all out and make the decision that we think is the best for everybody. That's what I'm looking at doing.
I think that's very, very good. And that's what I would want.
Right.
I wouldn't want it any other way. And
right.
So, because, if you work with us, it's like we know all the pertinent information and the important stuff. So it's
right.
We know all the lies.
To work with, us, we would need to tell you all the little bitty details that a lot of people don't know about.
Right. Like Christy told me today, she was telling me that your dad, something happened on the day that your dad was supposed to marry Dee Dee.
Oh.
And she had told him, don't do it. And he did it anyway. And she's like, so I told him when he married me that if that happened, not to marry me. just don't marry me.
Right.
And I was like, that is an interesting detail, and that's something that no one else is going to know.
Right.
And that's why. And that, to me, that's the interesting things. Like I said, I could go through records. I can go to the court records, and I can go and talk to the reporters that have done stuff with you. And I'm working with Megan Pack, the girl who had the thought catalog. I am working with her because she was the first person to break the story, and so I approached her about it before I approached your family, because I didn't know your family yet. So I went to her and approached her, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to work on it with you guys. And so I could do all of that, but it wouldn't be the story. It just wouldn't,
I definitely think that, I'm interested. Of course I'm going to talk to Dad and everything.
Right.
And we'll, see what we want to do. But I have a good feeling about this. I don't know the the man, the producer. I
Right.
talked to him. I obviously don't know what he would be wanting to do with it, or anything besides knowing that it would be a movie. Besides that, I have no idea. And so, of course, I want to go into something knowing all the details of how are you going to tell my story? Am I going to be involved and things like this?
Right.
Knowing that with you, I feel a lot more comfortable, and I feel like this is a good route to go.
Yeah. And the way he's looking at it, I mean, I can explain to you a little bit from what she read to me. I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to make an independent film instead of going, like he said, well, if you go to Lifetime or you go to whatever, then you don't have control, which he can be right, but it's all in how we present that to a network and what we do, and how we get people involved in this. But if you do a movie, yes, it can be independently funded, and it can do it can go around the circuit of different contests and film festivals and things like that. And of course, that's attractive to some people, and it's fine, and it's a great way to do it. But like I said, again, you're stuck with a movie instead of something that really tells the whole story. And then on top of that, I was very honest. I have not gotten anything fully made yet. I have been writing, and I have been an actress for a long time, and then I left for a while for my family and came back, and then when I came back, I decided to write things, and I decided to write stuff for myself, and then I have been working with, several different producers and things to get those things made and created. But one of the things that I said about him is he doesn't even, like, if you pull up, there's a website, it's, IMDb, but for those of us that are in the industry, right, but those of...
So, that pretty much clears up the fact that, I misrepresented myself as some big-time producer that could get this done, and that I was misrepresenting who I was, and I told him I was this big deal. Right here, I am being honest and telling them exactly what I said on the back porch when I sat down with Rod and Christy. I'm just little old me. I have some contacts from some of the things I've been doing, and I think I can get this done along with what you say. You have contracts and all of that, but I'm not special. I just think that I can do this. I think I can do this. That's it. That's all I said to him. Look, you hear me now telling Gypsy. And she's like, yeah. Now listen to it. Keep going. Because I go even further into detail.
Those of us who are in the industry can actually see a professional side of that people who can't. We pay for this service to be on there and be able to see it. And what I looked up this gentleman that contacted Mom and Dad. And I saw that what he has done is that he was a story editor, which means he wasn't the writer. He just went through and edited for whatever content that he was supposed to be doing. And then he worked in production as what's considered a grip. And so basically that's either the sound department or him pushing, the dolly that has the camera on it, something like that. So those are the two things that he has done in the industry. So when and then whatever, and one was a short film, and one was one episode of some show I've never heard of. So, okay, so those are the things that he's done. And he was like, well, I just did this story, this movie about blah, blah, that's coming out. Well, that's not listed on his IMDb, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that I'm any further along than he is, but I feel like the way he portrayed himself and the way that I'm portraying myself are two totally different things.
Right.
And I feel like
approach, really.
Yeah,
it's all about approach, really.
And I will be more than happy to be involved.
Right.
And
right.
Whereas if I'm kind of kept out of the loop, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. And so my goal in all of this is to really educate you guys and make sure. I want to protect you guys. You guys have been through enough. I think that you have been through enough. I think you got a raw deal in life. And then you tried to overcome that in many ways, and you made a bad decision, and I don't think you should pay for that for the rest of your life. And I think that what happened, while I understand why Mike took a deal that he did, I completely understand. I still think it's a raw deal. I don't think you deserve to be in prison for 10 years. I don't think that was the answer.
I wish I'd never said that.
I feel like you guys have been through so much, and I don't want you to have to go through that in the process of doing this too. This should be, for you, a good experience in something that, yes, it's going to be painful because you're going to talk about things that I'm sure are very hard for you to talk about. But in the end, I want you to feel good about what you've done, and I want you to be protected. I feel like you guys are just this little bird that needs to be like picked up and scooped up and and taken care of, because I don't want vultures coming in and swooping in and hurting you, because you've already been hurt enough. You know, you've dealt with that enough. And so along the way, I will be very honest. And I even told your dad, I said, if you don't pick me, if you decide you want to go with someone else, you can always contact me and ask me any question or anything, that you have a question about. If you feel like you're not being told something truthfully or whatever, I'm here to support you guys more than just tell your story. I'm here to support you guys because I really feel connected to the story in many ways.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me, because yesterday I was having a kind of an emotional day, and since the documentary premiered, I've been getting a lot of mail. And
I'm sure.
So, I've been writing some really sweet people, and I have a couple of their phone numbers, and we made friends, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I vented. Like, I cried on the phone because I'm like, I just want to go home. I understand that what I did was wrong, but it's not like I'm going to do it again or anything.
Right.
So I just have moments like that where I break down, but I don't lose hope. It's just I go through ups and downs, and I'm going to go through that. But at least I have supportive people that can help me through those days.
Yeah. And that's very important, going through all of this. And I have been through, and if you get to know me, you'll understand that I've been through a lot in my lifetime too. I'm not a kid. I'm 42 years old. I'm coming back to an industry that I left to have my family, and I have been through a lot. My husband is bipolar himself, and we've been through a lot, and I had a sick mom, and my dad left when I was 6, and I've been through a ton of different things, and so has my daughter, who is only 20 and has been through a lot as well, and so I just really feel that, we have that connection, as opposed to just somebody who wants to make a film, and wants to make money off of making this film. I want to make money? Of course I want to make money. There's nobody out there that's like, no, don't pay me anything. I don't want anything. No. But I want, like I said from the very beginning, I want to tell stories that are important. And I want to tell things that I feel I'm passionate about. And this hit me like a ton of bricks. And I have told every single person about it. I'm like, you got to see this documentary. You're never going to believe this story. I'm like, you got to watch this. This is crazy. I've never even seen anything like it. And I watch true crime constantly. That's all I watch. In fact, there was a period of time where I didn't watch anything else. That's all I would watch, because it was something that I could zone out to, and not actually have to really concentrate to watch and follow a storyline from week to week.
What are you talking about? Diarrhea Jones? What are you talking about? Nobody even said anything to you. Do you even know what we're talking about? Who are you?
And so my kids are like, oh, Mom's watching people killing people again, and I was, and then this story came out, and I was just like, oh my God, this is it. This is the story I want to tell. Oh my God, this is the story. I have to tell this story. And so I did everything I could to talk to, Christy. And I was like, I'm going to get in this group and I'm going to talk. And then I saw the group and I was like, this group is terrible. What's wrong with these people? And so then, I got more and more and more involved in it. I was like, no, this is not happening. I'm not letting these people get hurt. So
thank goodness my mom made the new Facebook group. And that's supportive people, because a lot of people,
I know.
My mom was getting upset. I think it was with someone that said something, and that was the final straw. And someone was like, just make your own support group where you are an admin of it, and you control what people say.
Right. Well, somebody said something about how you would be, like, that they think you should be in prison for life because you're just going to get out and do this over again. I'm like, who would she do this to? I don't understand. Is there another person that's going to tell her she has leukemia? I don't. Or all of the things that she has, or put a feeding tube in her body. Is there somebody out there that's going to do that to her?
Not to mention, like, I came from a mindset that the lines of right and wrong were not very clear. And so now I know better, and if I was in that situation again, I would go to the police. I would tell someone.
Right.
I've been
I'm like, are you guys kidding me?
I know better now.
Right. Someone was like, I think that she knew the whole time and she was doing it. I'm like, so let me get this straight. So you say that she wanted a.
I hate that I say the next sentences here, but at the time it's what we thought, but now we know that, this is exactly what happened. This sentence that I'm going to say, do you guys really think this is what happened? It is what happened. And it was my naivety at the time,
Feeding tube in her body, and her head shaved, and her salivary glands taken out for a trip.
Tracy Taylor, she had limited access to it. I don't know if she actually had access to it herself, or but she did have access to it through everyone else who told her everything that was being said at all times. Nobody cared about protecting her from any of that, from not telling her things that were upsetting to her. Nobody gave a shit. Christy didn't care. She told her everything.
To Disneyland? Are you kidding me? I was like, I can't even. That is just the most stupid statement I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, I love Disneyland like anybody else loves Disneyland, okay? I am a huge Disney fanatic. But, no. No.
My body intact.
I was like, I'd give up teeth too to go to Disneyland. No, that's not happening. I was like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, in county jail, they were, a lot of people were talking in county jail, and of course, they were playing the telephone game. And it's the craziest story that I'm like, a great writer cannot even come up with this stuff.
She knows so much about things that if you were living such a sheltered life and didn't have any kind of outside influences and never knew anything, you wouldn't know any of this shit. You wouldn't know any of this shit. But you do know this shit. That's interesting. I didn't pick up on that red flag.
Well, they say that me and Nick had chopped up Mom, put pieces of her body in plastic bags, sent it to Australia and Alaska. Oh, but I accidentally dropped my phone in one of the plastic bags, and that's what ended up getting us caught. And then we also robbed a bank. Also, right there, I was dressed up.
So did you guys hear how she puts these little things in there and then eventually they morph into actual stories? Like the story that she just said about what was it? What did she say? Not about the cutting up, the other one. The robbed a bank, but I don't, she gets into that one in a second. The other one that she said, I can't even remember what she just said. Oh, good. But I mean, she uses these things that she tells me in this, oh my God, did you hear, this person said this and that person said, oh, the phone. Yeah, the phone. Okay. So the phone, thank you, Vivi. The phone ends up turning into, no, he did not, Caleb. He did not. The phone, thank you, guys. The phone ends up turning into the story about getting caught running away, is that she dropped a phone and blah, 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 blah. So she uses these things, she tests it out and then she kind of morphs it into her own story. It's crazy. It's crazy how she can do that.
As an old lady.
Sorry, I'm laughing so crazily at the thing.
I know, people were like, she was in disguise. I'm like, she has no hair.
Right.
So she was wearing a wig because she's been wearing wigs for years. The thought process to me was just, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are killing me. I've got to do something with this because someone has to tell the truth here. This is ridiculous. So,
But I just want you guys to be careful, you know. I mean, just even if, like I said, you know, if you choose that I'm not the way to go because I'm not an established, you know, producer, or any of those things, I totally understand and I get that. But I just please, if you choose someone else, be very careful, please. I just want you to be protected. That is my main goal, and I want the truth told. Those are the two things. And that's what I told your dad. I promised him. I said, I can't promise you money. I can't promise you HBO. I can't promise Lifetime. I can't say that this will even get picked up. However, I know it will get picked up because everybody's going to want this story. That's not, but here's the thing. I can only promise you that I'm going to tell the story with integrity and honesty, and I'm going to be an advocate for you guys. That's all I can promise.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And I'm going to call Mom after and tell her how wonderful our conversation went, and I'm probably going to call my dad. He never freaking picks up his phone. He's always, he's like one of these people you can ask Mom about it. Mom said that if she was dying on the side of the road and she would call my dad to tell him I love you for the last time, he would not pick up
the phone. That's so funny. And I talked to him today, and he's so low-key. It's hilarious. I'm like, your mom is so high energy, and she's vivacious. And he's just like, oh, that sounds really nice. Yeah. I got off the phone.
Dinky, you do know that you're talking about me, right? I'm the one in this call. So if you're saying that I'm gullible, I've already covered some of that. But yeah, you're basically saying that about me. And I guarantee you, yeah, it's me. I didn't know what I know today, and it is me. And this is how she manipulated me. I am, like I said earlier, I am autistic. It can happen. I had taken a big pride in the fact that I didn't think I was manipulatable like this, but obviously I was. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And it is dangerous. But yeah, this is me. This is my phone call. This is the very first phone call I ever had with her. Andrea, I'll share that in a minute. No, I discerned after the interrogation video, the medical records were the icing on the cake. Yeah.
Then it was like, Christy, I have no idea what he thought of what I said. I'm hoping that he liked what I said, but I really don't know because I think I got 3 words from him. So
he's that way in general.
Yeah, he seems like a really good person though, and they both do. That is, and I'm so glad that you have them because I can't imagine what this would be like without them, you know, and I just...
They're my blessings, for sure.
Yeah.
I probably call Mom about, okay, I'll put him in. My roommate, my friend just got on me because I'm not wearing my teeth. It's still weird to me because my Dee Dee didn't allow me to wear my dentures.
Right. That's a bold-faced lie.
So I'm still trying to get used to wearing them. Not being able to wear them to, you know,
right. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
To be able to wear. So it's just kind of time to get used to them. So my friend is like, "Are you wearing your teeth?" And I'm like, I'll go put them in.
That's funny. All right, we'll talk to Mom and Dad. I'm here anytime, okay? And you can call me. I go by Fancy, so so anytime you want to call me, just give me a call. I'm usually up and around all the time, so I work, you know, and I work from home and stuff, so I can talk to you anytime you want. And if it's just like you said, if you just need a day where you call and you talk to somebody and you cry and you vent, I'm glad to be here for you. So
thank you. That means so much. And I hope
you're
you have
welcome,
a wonderful
sweetie.
Day.
Thank you, honey. You have a great night, okay?
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Okay, there you have it, guys. That is the very first call with Gypsy Rose and me from 8/14/2017. So, there you go. So, If you want to come up, you can now hit the box and we can talk about this for a little bit. I've got about maybe 10, 15 more minutes that I can talk about this, and then I'm probably going to go. I'd love to hit 100,000 before we get out of here, though. We're at 72, guys. Can we keep tapping? All right, let me see. If anybody is down here that wants to actually come up, let me get you guys up. All right, I know Maxim has been asking for a while, and I know Dirty Grandma. Where did it go? Accept. Is anybody... did you... Okay, so no, I have not found any more calls between me and her, except for 2 very short little ones. I don't know why my calls were not included in what I have. I've actually requested my specific calls because they're all out of there, and I don't know if it's because of the lawsuit that I had with them or if Greene County's just playing a game. I really don't know. I really don't. Hey, girl, how are you?
What's up?
Did you know you're up here?
I've seen my chickens. I'm sorry, as I'm listening to you. No, I'm just like really shocked that she comes across so cool, calm, collected, knowing well everything's such a lie. It's just unbelievable to me that you get criticized for not like being manipulated. There's been so many people manipulated. Like it's insane. And what shocks me is that Rod was involved in these negotiations. I wasn't sure. I thought it was more just Christy doing it all. And he seemed like he really didn't care, or did he care?
He didn't care. He didn't care about anything.
Yeah, it's just he's just there.
That's just Rod. He doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yes.
Like anything.
That's kind of what I was getting. And surely he has to feel the same way about what she did to this day. Now that it's out, he knows that it's all lies. He has to know. And he still don't care. I'd be crawling under.
The fact that they have no shame is blowing me away.
That's the correct word.
I'm just blown away by that. I think is that my little grandson? Hold on a second. Oh, it is my little grandson. Hello, grandson.
The door is unlocked, so I know how to open it.
There's what?
The door is unlocked.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing good.
All right, go, because I'm talking on a show. Sorry, guys. He is an ostrich, Vivi. He is. That's exactly what he is. Anyway, Grandma, you can keep going.
I'm not an ostrich.
Not you.
Kids too.
Not an ostrich.
Just, that and with the all the essay about the Claude thing, like I'm kind of on the fence too. I don't know what to think. But it sounds like
hold on a second. What?
I want to play Minecraft on Paul's tablet.
Okay, we'll go get Paul's tablet. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
It's like ironic to me that, and I've always heard this, like every lid has its own, or every pot has its own lid, and this whole entire family is definitely that.
Rowdy.
Where'd he go?
I'm sorry, he's in Pop-Pop's room getting his tablet.
Okay, I told him he could.
Okay, that's fine. I told him too. Sorry, guys. They just got here, so. Anyway, I'm sorry, Grandma. Go ahead.
The essay with the children and everything, it's like they gravitate together. It's like they're magnets. It's so ironic to me. Each and every person in this story has some kind of affiliation with that. What the heck is going on in Louisiana? Somebody tell me. Please, somebody teach me.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's just this area of people. I do. And the more I've learned about the history of the family, the more I do suspect that there was some amounts of essaying going on by many people. I mean, we've obviously heard her talk about Tiffany and peanut butter, and I think that Bobby is suspicious as fuck in all of this. Like, I just find everyone now, and yeah,
nobody's safe.
No, nobody's safe. No one's safe. Like, yeah, they were never interested in protecting any of these kids. They didn't care. It's like these people are just, it's just awful. Go ahead.
It's just mind blown. That's all.
Yeah, it is. And it's just hard. It's just hard. It's like the more and more, I know we can barely hear her. I'm sorry, Dirty Grandma, they're having a hard time hearing you. It's just, like I said, the more and more I've learned, the more and more I think that, there is a lot of truth to what they've said about the families. I do think maybe there was something going on with Claude, Senior, after everything I've heard now. Can I say that beyond a shadow of a doubt? No, I can't. But it is insane. Oh, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. But I've just never seen such a like collection of these type of people. Thank you, Christy. Thank you.
How the heck do you come across Ken and him and hers doing those signs? Because Ken is in no way innocent here. He was doing those signs in that live or whatever that show or that whatever that platform was, predominantly children and teens.
Yeah.
And we're asking for a third. Now we got Ryan and his garbage. What the heck?
Ryan and his garbage, like she just surrounds herself with these people and always has. I think that's the whole thing. I think Dee Dee was trying to run away from the family as far as she possibly could to try and give her kid the best possibility once she realized she wasn't going to die. And I think that all she did was run into the arms of more predatory people.
Right. And they were, even David and all of them. Oh my gosh. Like this is wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's nice talking to you. I'm going to get off.
Thank you so much. No problem. No problem.
I support you so much. It's not even funny.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Have a good one, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Okay, I've got 3 guest requests. I don't know if you all want to come up. I'm just going to accept you, and if you come up, you're great, and if you don't, then I'm probably going to get off here real soon. I don't like to always talk when the grandson's around. Okay, so none of those actually worked. So, all right, guys, does anybody have any more questions in the chat that I can answer real quick? We're at 79,000, guys. Tap, 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 tap. This was a hard call for me. I bawled my eyes out last night when it was sent to me. I listened to it about 2 o'clock in the morning last night. No, it's all, I can't see what your name is, something rising. No, all of it is. It's all part of the microdeletion. It's all part of it. The mental health, the sexuality, all of it. It's all part of that microdeletion. And hers is so large that, she's got massive amounts of problems. Hers is not borderline. Hers is actually substantially bigger than most other people's. That's the thing, Hold on. I don't know who is requesting. All right. I don't know who you are, Phoenix, but I'm going to let you up. Hi.
Hello, love. I've watched your lives and your videos so many times. I just want to say you're so intelligent and engaging, and the community is really thankful for what you've done. And you've done it with dignity, which is very rare. And I just wanted to commend you for that. First of all,
Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you. My name's Phoenix, by the way. I know it's cursive. It's small. Yeah. But I did have a question, though. I can't find in the true crime community, why did she always call her Dee Dee and Christy mom? How did that happen? Was it like an event or?
Well, I mean, I didn't think it came along till a lot later, but what we found out was when Trixie Lane, who was up here with me earlier, requested the Greene County calls, and she got some of them. She, Christy, one of the first calls with Christy in Greene County is, "I'll be your mama now." And like, it was just weird to us. Like, that was so odd that she just like blurted that out. And then from there, I guess she began to start calling Dee Dee and Christy mom, because she talks about it. All she ever wanted was Christy for a mom. If you listen to New Orleans Lady talk, she talks about the fact that, Christy and Rod were the ones she always threw in Dee Dee's face. They weren't gone. They were there. They were all at family functions, all of them, till she turned 15, and they went, they left after Katrina. So I think that Christy, in my opinion, this is the ultimate revenge for Christy. Is not only did she take your life, but now I've taken your child too. So I got your man, I got your life,
That's not a
They hated her. They hated her. They literally hated her, and they have been spreading lies about her ever since Gypsy was born.
That's so terrible.
Her own family.
Did you happen to know her mom?
I did not know.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't get involved until the documentary came out and I met Christy in a Facebook group. So I got involved in 2017. So this was literally the first, 2017. This is literally the first call with her. I didn't know her mom. I've met the whole family. I've met all of her friends. I met Dee Dee's best friends even, and I'm still very good friends with one of them. I just love her to death. But I mean, this is the story on the Bayou. Is that they all just hated her. And I really think that they convinced Gypsy she wasn't sick long before the murder ever happened. These people had the words Munchausen by proxy in their freaking mouths, telling the police and media before Dee Dee's body was even found.
Oh, wow. I thought it was her lawyer that came up with that.
No.
We did too. Eye-opening. Wow.
And then she tells a story about how she's the one who found it because lots of people were telling her that her mother had all the symptoms of Munchausen by proxy. And then she went to WebMD while she was in jail, county jail, and she looked it up and she was like, oh my God, my mom does have all these symptoms. Who do you think was telling her it was MBP? The family.
But didn't she have to sign all of her own medical documents after she turned 18?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
Some of them were still
mixed things, so that's why I've got so many questions.
Well, I can say that in 2014, absolutely 100% at the age of 22, she was in charge of her own medical records. She got a brand new primary care. Dr. Steele was no longer her doctor. She got this new doctor, and they did have the correct birth date, and she was signing for her own things in 2014. I have that. I found that the other day, the actual, records from that doctor. And I was like, oh my God, it has the right birth date on it. Because we haven't looked at all of them in so long, but, because there was every so often her real birth date was used. And I'm wondering if that's when Dee Dee did it.
Well, Medicaid, they're so stingy when it comes to any kind of money payout. So
Medicaid and the pharmacy both had the correct birth date.
That makes sense then.
Only the hospital system is where it was messed up.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
Very, yeah.
And all of that started after Gypsy Rose was 18 years old. Everybody else, they all had everything before that. They also lied about not getting the medical records from Louisiana. They had them.
Didn't you have a binder of the records too?
I have tons of binders of the records.
Oh my goodness.
The ones that they accused me of never returning, but it already was established in another call that was Titania, not me, and she did give them back.
Oh.
That the lies that they've told about me are insane.
Anyone who speaks against her, she wants to take down your credibility. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, for years, they've told everybody that I misrepresented myself as some big time producer, and that I told them that, that I was, thank you. That I was this big producer and I could get this done and everything. And you just heard in the call, how many times did I tell her? No, I'm not. I'm not this big thing. I'm just somebody who hasn't even gotten anything done. I had said that, I was very honest about it.
You just had their best interest at heart. That's all.
I did. I really went into this trying to be a helpful person. I wanted to help the community. I wanted to help her. I wanted to educate people on Munchausen by proxy. I really went into this with a good heart. I never wanted to be where we are today. That it was never my goal. But you hear me tell her over and over and over again, the only thing that I was after was truth. I even said, hey, it may not paint everybody in the best light, but at least it will be the truth.
That was not what she wanted, though.
That was not what she wanted.
Well, it sure came out.
No, she thought she could manipulate me. And then when she realized she couldn't manipulate me, she turned on me immediately. That was part of the problem. And that's so, I love the otter. Oh my God, that's so cute, Mrs. H. So I wasn't connected to the family before Andrea. I got connected through a Facebook group and being interested in the case. Yeah, we just found out about that, Cherish, the other day. We just found out that she said she disposed of Dee Dee's medical records in the trash, threw them away.
That's a red flag right there.
Yeah. Hey, user. Did you mean to come up? I don't think you meant to come up. I'm going to drop you down. Doop, 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 doo, doo. Yeah, so I mean, it's just, this has been an interesting experience for me all the way. I've learned so much. I realize how naive and how green I was in the beginning. Like, I'd never done anything like this. I didn't know. It
wasn't just you. It was literally everyone who watched the case took it for face value until all of these things came out afterwards.
I had no idea how dishonest documentaries could be. Like, I didn't know that. Like, like I said, I was so flabbergasted by finding out everything that I found out along the way. Like, it's so crazy. And then, like, Melissa Moore, she's literally sitting up there showing, do I have it right here? I think I have it right here. Showing this specific letter to Dr. Steele, and he is literally sitting there pretending it's not a letter to himself.
The doctor?
Yes.
What?
Yes. They show it on TV. They show it on Prison Confessions. I have it here, right here somewhere. I actually already did a whole thing on this. I did a whole thing showing how he lied in every statement that he made. He lied, and I could prove that he was lying because they literally flashed up a document. And they blacked out who it is to. And I'm like, oh no, that's to Dr. Steele. I know it's to Dr. Steele. I've seen this letter. So I went and found the letter. I looked at the date. I found the letter. And it absolutely is a letter to Dr. Steele. But they're sitting there presenting it as if it's not a letter to him.
Is he still in practice?
That's illegal.
Yes. I was going to say, is he still in practice? Take his license, man.
Yeah. Like, these people had no conscience whatsoever. Like, it was just all about money. Money.
I was about to ask how much did they offer him for that? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they threatened him too, because I think they told him that that he was in trouble for some things. Because I do believe that he is who participated in the fraud with her. Allegedly, in my opinion, for entertainment educational purposes only, but I think I can prove that shit. That's the thing. Like, he's the one. And I didn't have him. I always thought that he was suspicious, and I was always like, what is up with this guy? Like, Beckerman is suspicious to begin with, and I think that he is the one who taught them how to, like, cheat the system or game the system and getting more things that they could do, like selling the equipment and things like that. I think that was Dr. Beckerman, because he was the one always ordering extra things that they didn't need. But it wasn't like he was doing anything to her. He was just ordering equipment that she already had. And he would say that she didn't have it anymore, But Steele, I always suspected something about him, but I couldn't prove it. And then he opened his mouth on Lifetime Confessions, and I just started laughing. Like, I was like, dude, you have no idea how far you just stepped the fuck in it. I have these records. Why are you sitting up there lying, holding a freaking folder of records from Children's Mercy, telling everybody that you never saw them? Really? That's funny, because I've got every letter written to you.
To be clear, though, this isn't the doctor that said suspecting Munchausen by proxy, was it? Different one?
No, but that doctor wrote to Dr. Steele.
Oh.
He wrote to Dr. Steele, and then guess what? She didn't go back to Dr. Flasterstein after he wrote the letter to Dr. Steele suggesting the Munchausen by proxy. Dr. Steele didn't call it in to CPS in 2007 when that happened. No, he waited till 2009 when he got caught for what? Oh, fraud and changing your birthday. Yeah.
Birds of a feather. Yeah.
Birds of a feather. And now he's a fucking director of the hospital. Like, seriously?
Of a children's hospital. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. How fucking crazy is that? Just like the freaking defense attorney for Nicholas Godejohn, who couldn't recall anything that he ever did at all. Like, well, why didn't you do this? I don't know. Well, why didn't you do that? I don't know. Well, did you do this? I don't recall. Now he's a prosecuting attorney in a county over.
He did Nick dirty.
Dirty. They're all dirty. Hey, Vivi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I am tired, but I am good.
Yeah, well, I love your transparency on, just being vulnerable and sharing those recordings. I know that was hard for you.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this to touch on what y'all are talking about right now, is how many times have we seen this from the narrative from Hollywood, whatever form or fashion it is, from stories, cases like Selena, even the current case right now with the Clancy case. Yes.
The Siders case. Yeah.
The two brothers that killed their parents.
Menendez brothers.
The Menendez brothers. How many, Michael Jackson, how many times have we been fed a narrative and then you deep dive the discovery and the evidence speaks otherwise? It's common.
Hollywood is run by predators, though.
Yeah, because they just want to make money. It's a cash cow. It's what can we make off of this? And we're fed a narrative that's not true.
Right. And how do we close cases as fast as we possibly fucking can?
Right. Yeah, like Selena's case. She was having an affair. None of that came out. And Yolanda Saldivar was accused of doing things that she did not do. None of the things that she was accused of doing is in the discovery. She was never charged with embezzlement. That didn't happen. But it was a narrative that was fed to the public. They made a whole movie on it.
Right.
Could they not sue for defamation of character?
I mean, she's a criminal.
It's hard. It's really hard. Like I'm being faced with right now, she threatened my life in 2022 again. Like and I don't know how many other times she threatened it, obviously. Like, so, but I'm dealing with the fact that I just now found out about it and it happened in 2022, right? So what are my legal ramifications of it? I don't know.
Unless you have recording and writing, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot that they've obviously defamed, slandered, libeled, all of that about me. All of it, everything they've ever said about me is a lie. And but what can I even do about it?
But it's character that was already there before they were doing it to Dee Dee. So all it is just magnetized and embraced by the Hollywood. To even People Magazine just put out an article about Gypsy, Aurora's first word. Pissed. Like, it was absurd. Like, it really didn't look good.
That's in the tabloids now? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
oh gosh, she sold the story. Not shocking at all.
Yeah, so while we're all talking about these phone calls, People Magazine, In Touch, all of them, they're talking about the fact that, her baby didn't say mama till 19 months old and how healing that is for her.
It's either she's got a little bit of a development problem or she's not around her mom much.
Yeah, because my grandson is 9 months old and he's already said mama and dada. And he's 9 months old.
All three of mine, yeah.
Well, now I'm hearing that she said it before. I'm hearing that she said it before on a video, and that she has said it. Like, you cannot tell me that she can say help fold laundry and she can't say mommy.
That was just Gypsy trying to show off her new lips and extensions. Honestly, I saw that video.
I know.
It's all vanity. It's disgusting.
And it's to take notice off of the whole thing of what's going on. Yeah. These calls were all so long ago, and I was so stupid, and I'm different now. Look, I've got a mom. I'm a mom. My daughter just said mommy.
It's racist and it's awful.
I honestly think that if they would have done a forensic analysis investigation on that crime scene of Dee Dee, I think they would have found that Gypsy had already started before Nick got there. And I think that we'll never know the truth of that, but I truly believe that because Nick has he has never wavered from what he has testified to about how many acts he did on her. And but it doesn't add up. The math isn't mathing to what the evidence said.
And with Asperger's, you tend to stick to one. Even his mom said that in the interrogation she was in, like the interview. She's like, he tends to just stick to the truth and take it for face value. Like, oh, Gypsy told us everything, and you see him talking to himself. Oh, she already threw me under the bus. I'm just going to say everything. So
yeah,
what?
And we talked about this earlier too. Is that, you know, now that we know what we know with these phone calls and certain things, I mean, there's a possibility she wasn't even dead yet when they left town.
That's wild.
That would explain why the decomp is wrong. The decomp is wrong. There is no two ifs, ands, or buts about it. She did not sit there in that house for 5 days, rotting like that, and still be in the decomp that she is in the position that, no, it didn't happen like that. That's just not how decomp works. No amount of turning down a thermostat, none of it. So I'm beginning to wonder, did this start on the 9th and she wasn't actually unalived until the 13th going into the 14th, when that second cab took somebody who was supposed to be Nicholas Godejohn over there and then lied about it. Like,
that brings up the man in the raincoat theory that Nicholas was talking about.
Yeah, I never have gotten behind that one because I don't hear what everyone else hears when I hear them say that. So I've never really latched onto that one. But this didn't go down the way that anybody said it did. It just didn't. And they've just
the other
lying.
thing too is if you look at their text messages, there was several hours where Gypsy went silent and she wasn't responding to him.
Right.
What was she doing in that time frame? And why? The other thing that stuck out to me is what she told Dr. Phil. I think it was Dr. Phil when Gypsy said, you know, her last words that she heard her mom say, Gypsy, don't hurt me. Why would Dee Dee say that?
Oh, because she's heard it before.
Well, then she changes it from Dee Dee, don't hurt me, to I'm not dead yet.
What? I've never heard that one.
Yeah, she said, I'm not dead yet. What was that for? She said she rolled up to her in the kitchen and gave her a hug. And Dee Dee turned around and said, what was that for? I'm not dead yet.
I feel so bad for her.
I do too.
Like, it doesn't matter what kind of person Dee Dee was. She didn't deserve what she got. Like, honestly, it looks like she gave her mother, her birth mom, Dee Dee, her mom, her actual real mom, I don't care what Christy is, a lot more abuse than what she claimed. She's like, I never told Nick I was abused. She wasn't abused. Her mother did everything for her. She even said in her own words. Exactly. I had to exist. My mom did everything for me. Like,
she didn't do anything. She didn't have to do a damn thing. She didn't have to clean anything. She didn't feed herself. She didn't have to bathe herself. She didn't freaking have to wipe her butt. You're like, I mean, Jesus Christ. You got your mom over here wiping your butt with towels. Like, what? And then you're making her clean those towels. Like, just bleh. You know, I mean, she's really just a bad person, like, all the way around. And I know that I've tried to give her grace, and I'm trying. Like, look, I can't put her back in prison. Maybe I can. Maybe we can.
You can't get double jeopardy, but there's fraudulent and perjury charges you can pursue.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But the thing is she out here, and she has a child. That's scary. So my position today is like, I don't want to make this child's life any worse than it already is. So I'm walking a very fine line here. Like,
but the thing is, though, like, to protect Aurora, like, if she loses her mind on Ken for giving her daughter more attention than her, what's to say she's not to take Aurora's life?
Exactly.
Like, it's disgusting to think like that, but that's the projection.
And here's the thing is that y'all have to understand is that Gypsy has a criminal mind. She has a criminal mind. That is her core. And it may not come in the form that you think it will, but it'll come eventually because she has permission statements that she believes excuses her from the rest of society and that she can do what she wants. So the criminal system will see her again. I guarantee you. Because she's not rehabilitated.
She did say in that call, I didn't murder my mother just to go by everybody else's rules.
Yeah.
You know what? You've got a baby. Your life isn't yours anymore. I'm sorry. I've got 3 children of my own. I'm a mom. Right. And I cannot imagine not living for my children.
No.
I don't know. It's concerning the fact that she has a child, but that's a girl. Like,
right.
I bet you anything that we'll see it come in the form of the fashion of financial fraud of some kind.
Oh, I hope something nails her or something.
I bet you it will.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
And Peter, I'm not trying to speak it into existence. I'm just repeating what I've heard from the phone calls and from other panels I've heard and all of this. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I want to protect that poor baby.
Look how they manipulated Mia, okay? I want you guys to think about this. They manipulated Mia. Mia was a child when all this went down. She was 13 years old. She blew up her whole fucking life, okay? Like, this is terrible. Can you imagine what this was like for Mia going through this? But they manipulated Mia so much that they told Mia that I was crazy, that I was saying that Gypsy was going to unalive her when she was, when what happens when she gets married and da-da-da. What if she snaps and unalives her because she got a freaking prison wedding and Mia's having this beautiful wedding, right? Okay, now mind you, I didn't know any of these calls existed.
All the calls true otherwise. They cleared your name right there.
I'm just saying that because I'm really concerned for you. She just threatened my life, Christy. I'm concerned for you. I'm concerned for Mia. She is not okay. And I don't know why, why you're not seeing this. She's not okay. You're going to have to eventually realize she is, in fact, a fucking schmurderer.
And she didn't get therapy in prison, did she? They tried to put her into psychology, but she refused.
She refused. No. And then she tries to say that the prison system didn't offer it. No, that's not true. That's not how it went down, baby girl.
She refused it. She had to sign something to refuse it, too.
Now, here we are. And what is she talking about with freaking Ken and Ryan? But the fact that she's jealous of Mia and Mia's going to get out. I'm going to have to be there for her $50,000 wedding when I get married.
She will not be there. She's in Florida with her colored fiance, which I'm sure Mia is livid about.
I'm sure, and I don't even want to get into that whole situation.
I don't either, but that's just below the belt.
Like I'm saying, here they convinced Mia that my concern for her was illegitimate and that I was just some crazy wacko, so that Mia comes out and she makes this whole freaking video about it right before Gypsy gets out of prison, cussing me and basically saying she doesn't understand why I would say anything like that. Well, what do you think about it now, Mia? What do you think about it now?
I'm sure the tune's changed now. She's like, Mia, you said she was 13, so she was only told what her parents told her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she moved 4 states away, 3 or 4 states away.
I don't blame her one bit. I would be out of the country too.
I hope she runs as far away as she possibly can.
Yes, she's a smart woman. She's a nurse.
Her brother's already enmeshed in the freaking family wreath, but at least she got out. Get out, Mia. Get out. Get out as fast as you can. It's the only way that you'll have a reasonable life. Get away. Never speak to them again. Run away. I don't promote parent alienation, but I'm telling you, in this situation, Mia, run.
But the fact that she's also trying to copy Mia in every single post that she makes and all of that's alarming. That's alarming. You can't just embrace yourself for who she is.
I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
I saw it. I knew there was jealousy. I saw it. I'm not stupid, I caught on to this a lot faster than a lot of people did,
Mm-hmm.
Right, and she's now
you're speaking the truth for anybody else.
Yeah, she is a nurse, and she needs to admit that she is that she was wrong. She does need to admit. She also needs to admit to herself that Daddy is who has the microdeletion, and you and Andre, if you stay together after all of this, which I'm not even sure that's going to happen. I feel bad for you, but I'm not even sure that can happen now. You guys need to sit down and really do the genetic counseling. Sorry, you need to sit down and really do the genetic counseling, Mia, because you need to know. You can't go by what your parents told you. Obviously, they lied to you.
There's no harm in a test anyway. If it's wrong, great.
You need to do this. You lied to your husband, your future husband. You lied to him. Whether you lied to him because they lied to you or you lied to him because you willfully lied to him is irrelevant. You lied about having this microdeletion and what it could be for your children. The 4 kids you guys want to have.
Isn't that a 50-50 chance it could be passed down from the parent too?
Every single time. Every single time,
yeah. That's why they're like, oh, we're going to do IVF for more kids. I'm like, oh, dear.
Is this genetic? How is this genetically happen? Is it from inbreeding? Did we ever find out for sure?
No, because it's not necessarily. That plays a part into it. In my opinion, it is why it is so predominant in that area.
It is.
But
I live down here.
Two parents that have a gene that does not combine or lack thereof. It's just the 2 different combinations.
It's not. It's a lot more than
not?
that. But no, it's a lot. There's a lot to this, but I can't say with beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's caused by the inbreeding. I can't say that yet. I'm hoping eventually to do a study. I'd like to find out how many people in that area have it and why, and how is it predominant down here when it's
very
not
rare.
It's not. It's not as rare as you think. It's not as rare as you think.
I've never heard of it until Gypsy. I mean, like,
well, now that they've
well,
discovered it, because prior to Gypsy, they didn't know what it was.
no, there was like 9 people in the world that had it or something like that, and now there's more. Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the thing. So, first of all, it wasn't discovered till 2008 and given a name, just like the anemia that she has that causes the leukemia. That wasn't found until 2008 as well. So they could have even misdiagnosed leukemia as this, anemia that causes leukemia eventually as leukemia, but the treatment would have still been the same. It would have been a bone marrow treatment and chemotherapy. So it mocks leukemia, but it can cause leukemia. This anemia that she has that is tied in with her freaking microdeletion. But here's the thing, because there is such a wide variety of symptoms, you can have a completely asymptomatic person, and then you can have a person who is a baby that doesn't survive outside the womb for but a couple hours. So this goes undiagnosed often because none of these things that these people have seemingly connect. There can be a microdeletion that happens by random and spontaneous mistakes during DNA, but that's not how it always happens either. This is very complicated.
It's not well known either. I've got lots of questions. I didn't know.
No, I do believe that more people have it than we know. There's an entire area I think it's in India, where these people have it, like all of them. And it's a very impoverished, inbred kind of area.
Like I can drive 10 miles north from where I live, and the IQ is going to drop to an average of 80. That's just this region. It is that way. I can't explain it. It's been that way for generations across deep East Texas, all the way into the southern Louisiana region. It is just that way. The way people believe is very dated. It's very backwoods. You have people that have the only heat they have is wood burning stoves. That's the way they live. And it's a lifestyle down in this region.
Yeah. And yes, they do have similar facial features. Yes. The facial features are the main marker for it that you can see. That's the thing. That's the physical outward display of it. If you look at the girl on the pamphlet from rarechromo.org, I mean, you'd think it was Gypsy.
Y'all play real Minecraft?
Pardon me?
Oh, sorry, that was my daughter.
That's okay. So I mean, there's that. Like, it's just it's a very wide spectrum, and that's why it goes undetected, because doctors don't connect anything, and unless you do a very specialized a very specialized microarray, which is what they did to find this in the end, was they were so frustrated they couldn't think of what was causing all this shit. They finally did the microarray, and they're like, oh my God, the microcephaly is part of it too. It's part of the microdeletion. So, that's the thing, is like, without doing that test, that specific microarray test, they don't identify this. It just goes on as, well, they've just got a lot of problems. They've got medical problems. They have ear problems. They have eye problems. Okay, well,
mom has Munchausen.
Yeah, mom has Munchausen.
And what qualifications would you need to request this kind of test? Do you know?
You have to be a specialist. Okay. And it has to be a special plate. Okay, so like there's 2 different tests that they can run to look for chromosome disorders. There may be more, but I know about these 2. And these were the 2 that were run on her. So there's something called a karyotype, and it's a preliminary screening. And then there is something called the microarray, which is the more comprehensive look at everything. The karyotype in this came back, and it indicated that they didn't think she had any type of chromosomal disorder. They weren't sure. But then they went on to do the the microarray, and the microarray is the only way to find this specific type of chromosome disorder. So yeah, it has to be a geneticist that runs it, or a specialist asking for that specific testing. So in this instance, it was her neurologist that asked for a microarray to be run, and a genetic specialist lab did the DNA. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're at 95,000. Come on, we can do it. Come on, we can do it. I can do it. And it just, so there's a lot to it. And I think that it's very misunderstood, and they have done nothing but confuse people more with how they talk about it. Now you've got the Andrea Dunlops of the world out here talking about, you know, how I don't need to see the medical records. I don't need to see the files. I read Gypsy's memoir and that's good enough for me.
Oh, come on. She didn't even write that herself.
I know. That's like she's admitted it has multiple errors in it, but Andrea Dunlop, she's like, nah, I'm an expert on MBP and I don't need anything. I don't need any proof. No. But then again, you've accused your sister of it for however long, and your sister was acquitted twice. And she sued the freaking hospital and won. But you and your board are out here still saying that your sister has MBP, and she doesn't. She has children with fragile fucking immune systems and complex disorders. That's the problem with MBP. These people that identify it, that are experts, aren't experts in jack shit. They're not experts in anything. They don't know. They have no clue. And unless you look at the medical records and have it reviewed by people that know things, you're just flapping your gums. The fact that not a single one of these experts has ever wanted to look at Gypsy Rose's freaking medical records should tell you everything you want to know. Because if they look at the medical records, then they're going to have to admit they're wrong.
Never admit that they're wrong.
No,
well,
they won't.
I'm just hoping that sibling of Dom's Law, from the Mackenzie Shirilla thing, I really hope she gets somewhere with that legislatively to shut down Gypsy, because I'm so sick of her profiting from this crime. It's truly disgusting.
And Gypsy had no right speaking
and then
on that
and
either.
then posting with lip injections and having her nails done and hair extensions and having her hair done a gazillion times and just all this stuff and nose jobs. Like, someone paid for that with their blood. Like, seriously, is wild to me.
Yeah. But no matter how beautiful you are on the outside, you got to work on the inside first.
That's what my grandmother used to tell me. Ugly is as ugly. Ugly is as ugly does, and ugly is to the core. Beauty is only skin deep, but ugly is to the core.
That's my granddad's vouch too. Yeah, I hear you.
That was my grandmother always told me that, and that's why I always tried to be a good person, because that was what was, that's just who I was. I'm just that person. Have I made mistakes in my life? Yeah. Did I commit some crimes by accident? Yes. Like, literally by accident. Like, none of them were committed on purpose. Like, it's crazy. But, it just happened. But this is the thing. These people sold us a lie. And the people that helped them sell the lie, in my opinion, are more culpable than the ones that sold the lie. They're more culpable than Gypsy. They're more culpable than Christy and Rod and the Petrie family and Bobby and all of them. They're more culpable because you saw the facts and you still put out the narrative to make money.
I honestly have sat in this, like, reflected on what it would look like if Gypsy truly publicly owned this and just approached this with some humility and ownership. I mean, if there was any saving face, you know what I'm saying? If she would just approach it with some humility, some ownership, and remove herself from the public eye, I almost think that she could possibly save herself just by doing that alone. But what would that look like? Because she's so incapable of doing it. There's always but there's always a finger pointed at somebody. There's never truly any ownership.
I think she believes all that, though. That's the thing.
Right.
She's not mentally well. She's not mature. She's not mentally well.
And part of the problem is the people that are surrounding her. It's like it's like a barrier that they, what do you call it? Insulate. They insulate her.
Yeah.
And keep her from it. They enable it. Yeah. And it's wild to what, especially Ken.
I think the most enabler, though, is Christy, but I think it's not just an enablation. I think Christy is who convinced her of all of this. I think Christy convinced her she's not sick. I think that was Christy. Like, seriously.
And then she has this passive ass dad that's like an ostrich with his head in the ground and does nothing. There's no accountability demanded of his daughter or ownership, you know?
Well, he can't take ownership of his own bullshit. You know?
No.
It's sad. It's really hard. And I feel like she's still being controlled. No matter by everyone all the time. She's not her own person. She doesn't get to be her own person because all she's ever been to anyone is money. That's it.
Yeah, she's easily swayed and influenced.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. And I think they convinced her she wasn't sick. Like, you know, like, and that's really detrimental to her health. Like, for God's sakes.
You saying that just kind of proves you did have her best interest at heart.
We got to 100,000 guys! Woo!
Congratulations. I'm going to drop off here. I got to get some stuff done here around the house before my husband gets home. But I have enjoyed it as always. And I'm so proud of you for your transparency and continuing on in your journey.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yes. Take care.
All right. Well, I'm going to drop you both because I'm going to get off here too. So thank you both for joining me. I appreciate it. Right, Phoenix. It was a pleasure talking with you.
You too.
Okay. All right, guys. So, I mean, this is going to be on a replay. So, please go over to YouTube and watch it for anything that you haven't already heard. And then and I'm going to do a live replay. So as soon as it's able to download and put it over there, I'll do a live premiere of it and I'll be in the chat talking. Cause I feel like I want to make sure that everybody understands what is going on in this one specific call specifically, cause it's mine. You know, but I thank you guys again for the tapping, the sharing. It's the Good Wives Network. Just type in the Good Wives Network and you'll find it. I thank you guys for tapping, for sharing, for all the gifts, for the support, for the love, and the good conversations that we've had. And I hope that eventually, you know, you guys will see me for who I really was and who I really am today. And what I think and how I feel. And I'm not a flip-flopper. I simply am able to look at information and go forward from there. And when new information comes in, then there's new information and there's new things that you think and you feel and you find out. And that's what happened to me. All along the way, all I've ever been finding out is the truth. And everybody's criticized me for this or that, or not doing this or not doing that, or not making my thing. But if I had done any of the things that you know, everybody wanted, you still would have had a very untruthful story from me and I would have moved on, you know, but it never sat right with me. I just needed to know more. I needed to know more. I needed to know more because because we were lied to. And that is something that I am really huge on is correcting injustices. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Like that's the big deal is correcting injustices. I have to do that. I can't let it go. Just like with the Audrey situation, I've read her book and I can't not cover it now because I do believe that she's lying. And no, I haven't finished. Somebody asked me earlier if I finished that series. No, I have to get, thank you. I have to get the FOIA in. And once I get the FOIA in, I will be continuing with that series. But I don't want to say any more about it really until I have the FOIA documents because I want to see certain things before I go forward with saying more stuff, you know. So anyway, guys, I thank you very much for joining me today. And discussing, this and listening to my side of the story in this call. And thank you very much, guys, and have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime one dish at a time. Bye, guys. Mwah. Oh, come on, go away. There are no guests. What are you talking about? It won't let me in.